Welcome back, everyone, to another session of Crituitous RP. Thanks for joining us this week. I am back. Hey. All right. So, before we get started with our wonderful adventure today of Tomb of Annihilation, we would like to thank our newest followers. So, thank you. Special thanks go to Super Megadeth 14J, Pandemonic with a 1, Sudden Crane, Deadly _ Incantations, and Bohace. Thank you very much to each of you for following us. We're currently at 345. If we get another 155 followers, we're going to do something very special. We'll tell you more about that when we get closer to it. So 55. Yeah. So thank you very much for sharing us with all of your friends, telling people about us. Get that follow account climbing. Go over to our YouTube channel to watch our episodes back, and also subscribe to that. You can follow us on Twitter. We are at Crituitous RP. You can follow us on our Tumblr page, where we post not just keep an update of the current situation, but post our regular out of game but in character chat, roleplay chat. That is crituitousrp.tumblr.com. And then if you like to read along to textual roleplay in as it happens, you can join us on a private Discord server by supporting us over on patreon.com/Teervanth. So, our intrepid adventurers charging forth through the Tomb of the Nine Gods towards the end of the Tomb of Annihilation adventure. They've gotten far. They've explored through a lot of dangers. They've gotten most of them inhabited by some form of trickster spirit. And now on this third level of the dungeon, they have learned a couple key points. To get to the Soulmonger, which is at the 6th floor, the bottom floor, our heroes need to collect 5 keys. Those 5 keys can be found on each of the 5 floors that lead up to the final. They've gotten 2, they're now on the 3rd level, and they've just found out that the skull key for this floor happens to be in a beholder's lair. Just happens to be. And not only that is it in a beholder's lair, but in order to get to the beholder's lair, they need to collect 10 crystal eyes that also are going to be dotted around every single trap on this floor. So they're going to have to get involved in everything on this floor in order to get those crystals, or at least they believe so. Towards the end of the session last week, we met a new friend by the way of Yaka, a animated golden skull that is currently floating over Pijo's right shoulder, just in a third-person kind of position, and he loves to talk, loves to tell wonderful jokes, and just generally is a happy little guy. So we're going to rejoin our adventure as our heroes are currently questioning Yaka a little bit about the knowledge of the tomb, the things that are inside, and what they can do. So I will move it over to you guys. What are you doing? Let me move you to the map. That'll make things easier, I think. So, what are you guys doing at this point?
So Yaka, you know this tomb or this place, do you?
Yes. I know quite a lot about this tomb. I've been here for a very long time. I've seen most of it.
And you know about this beholder fella, is that right?
Oh, Belcorge. Yes, of course. Belcorge, terrible at spelling, really bad poker face, but a fantastic singer.
Is that so?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What else can you tell us about him, or the dangers behind that door that we're seeking to enter?
What does he sing?
Even more importantly,
That's a good question. Mostly power ballads. He has an incredible capability of making the sound of other instruments. It's impressive. You've got to get him singing. When all 10 eye rays start lighting up the place, it's like I don't know what you could call it, but when you have multiple lights going off at once, I think in the future they might have a name for it. It's incredible.
Maybe we should have a ballad off against Common. I'm sure she could give him a run for his money.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay.
Do your eyes sparkle too?
They can if you want them to, and she'll press digitation to just have a little sparkle come from her eyes.
Oh, excuse me. My eyes don't sparkle because sockets.
They might have though, but it's actually more shiny gold, so your eyebrows sparkle better. Your eyebrows are on fleck. That mine wouldn't do that. So, yeah.
I'm flaking. I hope I'm not flaking. I mean, my gold covering was expensive.
No, that's amazing. You're shiny. You're shiny. That's why PJ probably picked you up.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you pay for your gold covering?
No, but kind of to become, the gold cover. Kind of,
Is it a gold cover or you go to the core?
I'm made of gold. I am the best, the shiniest skull you'll ever find.
Oh, we're gonna be the best.
If you want to know a little bit more about Belcorge,
Aye.
I would be happy to tell you.
Sure.
But
Please do.
I'm struggling to remember right now. Maybe if someone were to give me something a little shiny, I might remember.
Where would you put it if we gave you something shiny?
Do you want more gold? I have gold coins.
Can I have some gold coins?
Sure.
How are we going to give it to him?
He opens his jaw. He is a skull, so he does actually have the bottom jaw. Just hinges down.
I'll turn visible for a sec, long enough to slip 3 coins in his mouth. Just boop, boop, boop.
Okay. Strangely enough, they don't fall through the hole in the bottom of the jaw, as there is a hole in the bottom of the jaw. They seem to strangely sit on what is some form of apparent base. And then you watch as the skull begins to just chew the golden metal. It melts and molds and then actually shifts to become part of his form, improving its shininess.
Fade back into the shadows.
Okay, this much I can tell you, or at least while I'm full. The guy who made the tomb may have used a wish to make the beholder permanently invisible.
That's not fair.
And
Says the disembodied voice from the other side of the room.
How could he do this to us?
And the floor of his lair is completely smooth. Smooth enough you could just slide on it forever.
Can you stand on it?
Well, you can stand, but you might fall over.
Oh.
Well, if you have legs, if you rely on legs.
Oh, okay.
I
Of course.
don't.
Yeah, of course.
Is it made of ice?
I don't know what it's made out of. Some frictionless surface. I'm I'm not an alchemist.
I've heard of stories of these.
Yes, Daddy's not very. Daddy doesn't like frictionless
No,
surfaces.
I've heard of stories of these surfaces. They're very very dangerous. We really should be standing on that.
Do you know what else is on this floor? What other enemies or traps? 'Cause this is all very interesting, but if we do not get the eyeballs, it is very little purpose.
I don't have too much information that I can give. I know there's a tapestry, pretty nice looking painting. There's a few paintings actually. There's a lot of paintings. I think you should really pay attention to all of the pictures in this place. They really tell a story.
We have not seen any pictures.
Speaking of telling a story, have you heard the story of the talking skull?
We're hearing it now.
Does it have a happy ending?
No, not for the people that listen to it.
Go on.
It's just how it ends. It's not going to end well for any of you, unfortunately. But it'll be a wonderful time spent with new friends.
So does everyone fit through that passageway that Pijo went through?
Everyone can fit. It's just a tight squeeze. That's all.
Like
Can-
this skull.
Can the Dow fit?
No, but you all also know of a staircase and a pathway that's nice and easy. The Dow will continue to follow you until you have used up her one spell that she offers you.
Well then, let us go back to the way we were coming, since we avoided coming to this floor for the danger, but it appears that danger is inevitable and we must fully explore this floor. Let us go the other way and see what we learn. No?
But before we do that, are we at all concerned with our newest friend? And do you think we should try anything with him in order to prevent untimely notifications of our presence?
What you are saying.
I think we're going to get along great.
But, however, you've said you like to tell jokes, you like to be chatty, you're not going to be too quiet. But remember what happened last time when you lost the person you're following? You ended up back in that room alone for, how long were you there for?
I don't know how to count.
Oh.
I'm afraid. It's no sunlight. It's hard to be able to see, and I don't have appendages to count on.
That's fine, but how long did it feel to your bones?
While I was asleep, it went by fairly quickly, but I guess the moments I was awake were fairly slow.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. If you kind of, when we ask you to be quiet or to work with us, and that doesn't work, and you want to tell jokes, and I love your jokes, they're really, really funny, but if you do kind of go against what we need you to do at that moment, you could get us all killed. And then if that happens too quickly, then you'll end up back in that room and alone again. And it might be for a very, very long time. And we don't want that. I'm just presuming you don't want that, that's all.
That could present a problem.
Yeah.
I have a solution, though.
What's that?
Well, you know how I can talk without lips? You even heard me whistling. It was like whistle without lips is really hard to do.
Yeah, I have been wondering that one.
Then the mouth closes, and telepathically, I can still talk to you like this. Hey.
Okay. But you know what? That's fine. That
It is?
well, it's not, But if you have that urge that you need to you have to say something, you have to get a joke out. I think we'd all prefer it to be telepathically rather than loud. So how's that sound? Because then you're not being turned off. You're just being a little bit turned down.
Roll a persuasion check.
Okay. But if anyone disagrees with me, then go with it. Ooh.
A 32. 32.
I am very persuasive.
You wasted it. You should have persuaded the beholder to let us in and out without any fight.
Absolutely. That skull is totally enamored by you and by what you've said. He will continue to communicate telepathically to you.
Good. And if I ask us to be quiet, we'll be quiet.
Kind of quiet.
Wonderful. So
Hey! You like instruments, right?
I have a few.
Yeah. Did you know that if you suck at playing the trumpet, that's probably why?
Yeah. Yeah, because you've got to blow it hard.
All right, so are we taking the stairs to the next area, or are we going to try to find another way?
It's going red.
If there is nothing else, I do believe there is a passageway down this hallway, perhaps to explore. But otherwise, we can go up and around, and
But logically,
challenge
that
the.
passage may lead to the one that is behind the statue we dealt with over the causeway.
There's quite a few passageways though, so while we're here, it makes sense to try it, does it not? I'm quite happy to follow Laszlo on that.
This one.
Yes, let us go take a look at the very least.
So this way?
No, this one.
I think the one up here by Captain Laszlo.
Okay.
All right, so this one is actually a much lower crawl space. You have to get down on the floor to be able to crawl into it. Who's going to go inside? Because it bends quickly after turning, so you're not going to be able to see the tunnel without going inside.
Do we still have Alwando?
Nope.
I'm happy to check it out. My form kind of is suited for these low spaces.
Cool.
Can I take a look around first and see if there are any eyes sticking out of this mold?
Roll a perception check. What's your passive, actually? It's
21.
pretty high, isn't it? 21. Yeah. You will spot that there is one watching you.
Okay.
Musical lady. Hi. Talking this one quietly, okay? I heard a rumor that the beholder can see through those eyes and can use them to, like color beam.
When you say color beam, what do you mean by color beam?
Like, when a beholder, shoots something out of one of its eyes?
Like it can cause damage?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes.
Okay. All right, no worries. Carmen's going to whisper using sending to Zola and tell her that information.
Thank you.
So, Zola, you slither in underneath the tunnel, and it ends quite abruptly, but it ends at a iron sheet. On this iron sheet, you can see quite clearly, etched into it, is the snarling face of a minotaur. It is on an iron sheet that you can just about see space for maybe fingers underneath. There's like less than an inch gap underneath, and it is slotted down into this this tunnelway. You look up and you can see that it does like go into the ceiling.
Okay, kind of like a track.
Kind of like a track.
Okay. All right, I will return and report what I have seen. So there's a iron sheet, and it looks like it's attached to some kind of mechanism that could ram whoever's in the tunnel in the corridor right in front of it. So this might not be a good way to go. I don't know.
Do you want me to take a look at it to see if there are any mechanisms that would allow us to lift it or push it down?
Let me check. I'm gonna go back in there and I'm gonna check real quick to see if there are any like places right in front of it that are dangerous that would set it off.
Roll a perception check on the sheet. Okay. With the 30, that's how tonight's gonna go. With your 30, you're able to tell that this sheet is just a thick piece of iron, but it's the bottom edge of it is slightly sharpened. Not a lot. If you're careful, you can easily place your fingers on the edge of the blade and it not cut you. But at speed, it might do so. As you look at it, you can tell by the scratch marks on the side of the iron sheet and the stonework, this thing slots up and down. Well, it doesn't go down, but like it's where it is right now is the lowest it can go, but it slots up.
So it's
You
kind
just
of
need
like
to lift it.
it's kind of like a guillotine.
Yes, I didn't want to say guillotine, but yes, it's pretty much a guillotine.
Okay. All right. It looks like a guillotine, guys. It does look like it's movable though to some degree.
Is it sharp at the base?
It could definitely do some damage. If you're careful though, you might be able to avoid it. Or,
Could we wedge something in the way underneath?
Perhaps this is connected to the mechanism in the other room.
Oh, there was a lever there.
The mechanism controls the slant of the room, but perhaps this is connected to it in another fashion.
I still have my unseen servant standing by that lever.
Yeah. There's one there.
Should I command it to touch it?
Did we do anything with that lever?
There's a no.
That's the
Ivory
lever I'm
Coast.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the lever you're talking about.
my
Yeah.
instincts are telling me that that lever has something to do with the room that it's in.
I can have a look.
Right.
So from your current position, tower, you're at the top of a 40-foot wall. 20 foot below you is the platform with a lever on it.
Okay.
You could probably push yourself off the wall and make it to the balcony, but you wouldn't be able to reach the lever from this position.
I thought the Unseen Servant was doing that.
No, the Unseen Servant is back in the room with the turning
No.
space.
It
Right.
is by this
Oh,
particular
it is
lever.
by that lever? Okay. Would you have that one pull it?
I'm asking the group if that's there, if they'd like to see that happen.
I don't think so. Not me, but the rest of them do.
We can observe from a distance and see if it makes any changes to the room.
I think it's worthwhile.
Okay. Then I command the unseen servant to flip the switch.
Okay. He flips the switch. An incredible rush and force of wind leaves from the left side and just crashes all the way to the eastern end of that corridor, blowing everything that way. Everyone is fine except for Tower, who is right on the edge. That hole right there, as the wind pushes past it, creates a vacuum. I need Tower to roll a strength saving throw to keep himself in the hole.
Ooh.
Okay. You hold on, but you know that now that that room is just filled with a constant flow of air moving from west to east. It is magically created and generated at the wall and then pushed outwards. The unseen servant doesn't actually have any sort of physicality to him, does it? I'm trying to think of whether or not the unseen servant would also be blown away.
Yeah, I don't see anything indicating like it has a weight. Or...
No. Then I would say that the unseen servant is still there with the lever down.
It is creating a lot of wind. Obviously, to push off the people off the platforms. It is very tough to hold on. Maybe switching this off.
Okay.
Unless Zola wants to check to see if the cullis is open.
Yeah, I'll go peek my head around the corner there. See if there's any change.
No change in its current position.
That's a negatory, good buddies.
All right, I'll turn the switch back.
We're good?
We're good. You're fine. No more vacuum behind you.
Well, could we lift the guillotine and then put something in place to keep it from falling?
I was thinking Laszlo has a very big shield.
It would make a lot of sense for me to just go in there, wedge it open, and get my shield in there. It is just a very tight fit in my armor. And if that is what we are going to do, and there are dangers behind that, great. Perhaps we come back to this after the other things. Because if my shield or my armor is destroyed, well, that will be a problem. So perhaps we risk that at a later date, a later moment in time, as it were.
All right, well then that leaves the corridor that has the two buckethead guardians.
Yes, let us go kill something. I always feel better after that.
Okay, so are you guys going through the tight space, or are you going back in the spiral staircase, up and then around?
Back in the spiral staircase, up and around. Rather than change layers, if that goes without a problem, we just wind up back on the staircase, I think.
Without a problem.
Yep.
In whatever order you guys prefer to be in.
Very good order.
With
Yes,
your Dow coming close behind. So, quick refresher, as you guys are coming down these steps, you see obviously the warning from Acerak for this level. Reminder, walk through water with weapon in hand, slake your shadow at the font. The vulture is the first step, right the gods, the walls of history tell all.
Peter, I'm going to fly down, but if I distract them, if I bring them towards us, you can knock them over the edge.
Bring who towards us? Who are you bringing?
Well,
The two gods I saw earlier.
Oh, okay.
won't they just walk back up the stairs?
Yeah,
Oh, maybe they'll break at the bottom.
but they might also then get the attention of other people.
Yeah, we don't want them.
You guys talking about the bucketheads?
Yeah.
Supposed to be chained up. I don't know.
Zola clearly saw them chained to the wall behind them.
Okay, so they might not be a problem.
Okay. Well, maybe something releases them.
If they are chained up, we can kill them while they are secured against the wall.
That sounds brutal, but true.
It's actually probably a lot more merciful than that sounds. Apparently, like, if we take what we knew from the one that we fought, there are actual people in there who have been changed in some fashion. So I would like to put them out of their misery. I don't think there's any way to unchange what has been done to them.
Then let us do this.
Off we go then.
Just to call. I know everyone is keen on killing these things because we're interested in murder. But there's also this
It's not
doorway.
murder. It's homicide. There's a difference.
There's also this doorway over here and this doorway over here that I think we can see, maybe.
Yes. No one actually came down these steps yet. So.
Sorry. So this is the top of the previous staircase from here, and then
Yes.
this is this whole level, and then this is the downward staircase again. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So we could walk past the plaque, and then there's a
All right.
room to the left we can look at.
Tower's going to check for traps in the immediate vicinity.
Roll a perception check.
Oh, we're Pijo. That's what we do.
What you do? That's Tower's roll.
That's Tower's roll.
Okay.
1.
Natural one.
You're not
Except
wrong.
for all those 20s earlier.
Yeah. Just saves time.
And this is Pijo. Not great.
Right.
Passive.
I'll take. Yeah, taking your passives as they are, you guys don't see any traps in the immediate vicinity. Walking past the corridor, you just see the double doors at the far end, and then the doors on either side. You've got ahead of you the single pathway north, if you would head around that way to look inside it, and then one more.
What's this thingamajig on the wall?
That is the plaque that has the hint
Okay.
for this level. So do you go around to at least get a view of each entryway?
I take a left first, and I go and look at these things that are secured against the wall.
Okay. They are clearly chained up to the wall. As soon as you enter into the corridor, they seem to start struggling against the chains, moaning underneath the heavy bucket helm and plate armor that they're on. You can see that the chains don't just wrap around them, but actually pass through the armor plating, through the people, into the stonework behind them. And the loud, muffled grunts that you hear after a while start to sound less like aggressive grunts and more like screaming.
I will take my sword and put it up at the neck between the helm and the armor and just insert it cleanly.
Okay. Not a sound. The other one starts moaning and screaming just that little bit louder.
Is that a concern or
I will step to this one and say, if you want the same, continue. If you do not want the same, be quiet for a moment.
Wait. What if? Hang on. I'm gonna go over here.
The helmet's off?
I'm gonna take the helmet off of the one that he killed.
Okay.
Oh, God.
You lift up the helmet.
Mhm.
Who is actually the one doing it?
Me.
You. Okay. As you take off the helmet, you're greeted by Cower's face.
That's messed up.
What? Tower's gonna
And
walk
then
Tower's gonna
it
walk
washes
to the other one.
over. It's not actually Tower's face. It's another Cholton individual. This individual is a bit thin. The skin is quite tight to the bone structure. They've probably not eaten in a very long time. Their skin has become almost a little bit paler than it would normally be. Scars and bruises cover them. You wouldn't recognize the individual, but definitely this is a human that's been tortured.
Okay.
This is black magic. Tower's going to lift the other helmet off with this black magic and just.
I'd also like to check to see if the live one has any signs of that orange stuff on them.
He does. He does. So he has gone through the process, and you can feel confident that there's no end. Tower, you lift off the bucket helm, and you see Avarine's face looking back at you, bloodied and broken. One of the goggles that is on the forehead, still on the forehead, but broken completely off and just shattered, with shards of glass actually digging into it, with the blood dripping down into what is actually a eyeless socket. Nice and gruesome. But then
What's
the
wrong
visage
with you?
crosses out of the way, and you're greeted by a screaming Cholton individual. Unfortunately, this one, as he's screaming at you, his mouth obviously opens, spit is launched straight out at you.
I thought he was dead.
No, not the one on the other side.
Huh?
So,
You said specifically you're taking the helm off when it was still alive.
yeah.
No. I thought.
No,
Right,
Zola beat you to that.
I'm confused. I thought Zola took the head off the one, that was alive,
No.
and I went over to take the one off the dead one.
No, the other way around.
Yeah, other way around.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough.
Let's roll with it.
As he's screaming at you, you can see that the tongue has been cut out. He's in a lot of pain. Similar kind of situation. It is a male Cholton individual, just covered in cuts, bruises, broken bones. The collarbone is sticking out right now as he's just screaming at you.
Laszlo ends him.
What's his just like or is he like screaming?
Yeah, no tongue. The inside of his mouth is scarred beyond belief. He is unable to actually make out any coherent words. He's just screaming in pain. Laszlo slides the blade. Where?
Mercy killing. So just right in the neck, hit the spinal cord, quick, clean, as little pain as possible. Just
straight through the throat. A mixture of blood and this orange goo seem to just slide down the side of your blade towards you. And the Tomb Guardian goes silent.
There's some twisted magic here.
You don't see Zola, obviously. She's still invisible, but you do see the vomit that suddenly appears and just lands on the ground. Well, there's the rest of my guts contents.
Is that technically casting poison spray?
No. Poison spray is somewhere else.
I do not think this place is going to get any better, Zola.
So I look in their hands to see if they're holding any of those crystal eyeballs that we need.
Unfortunately not. I know, right? It'd be so much simpler if they were.
You all understand. If we are not successful in our endeavor, it is likely each of us will wind up the same, and would be lucky to have someone come and end our suffering. Yes.
Oh yeah. That doesn't mean it's not sickening though to look at.
What is up here?
Okay, so looking obviously south, you see the room where where Yaka came from. He's like, "Oh, hey, that's my room. That's my room. I've been there for a very long time. You, when we're done here, I'll have you over for a sleepover." North of the room, however, is different. You actually see a sarcophagus at the end of this room. A 4-columned portico juts out from the far wall. Beneath it is a stone sarcophagus resting in the recess below it. 4 ceramic frog masks hang in niches. Okay? Those niches, 2 on each side, have ceramic frog masks within them. Beneath the masks, you can see humanoid bones strewn across the floor. To the east, there is a large carving of a tentacled frog monster squatting above a shrine. Offerings lie on a shelf before it, and then 4 rectangular frescoes adorn the adjacent walls. Cautious Obalaka warns against trying on the masks. It might look good, but don't try on the mask. Do we have Nang Nang in the group? We do, don't we?
Aye.
Who's got Nang?
Averine.
Greedy Nang Nang urges Averine to snatch up the gold coins on the wall.
Does Papazadal have anything to say? Sorry.
No, he doesn't. Specifically at what you've got here, so you've got the 4 frescoes and then the offerings that have been placed. The offerings are a 6-inch tall stone statuette of a Froggermoth, which weighs 5 pounds and has an inscription on the base in Old Omuan. Do any of you read Old Omuan?
Yes.
Yes. It says, "Give thanks to me as others have done since the dawn of time." Okay.
Says that we should show appreciation for him, since it has been since the beginning of time.
There is a copper bowl containing rat bones, 4 dead cockroaches, a green wax candle with a salvageable wick, and 5 loose gold pieces. So that is as an offering underneath the large image of the Froggermoth stood above a shrine. Around it, you have the 4 different frescoes and images. The first one, a frog-like behemoth uses its tentacles to help the Omuan people knock down a mighty statue. In the foreground, an old woman wearing a frog mask tosses 5 coins from her hand as though sowing seeds. And I will, just for the sake of it, copy and paste that in the chat so you guys can read them again. The second one, a frog-like behemoth wraps its tentacles around a giant crocodile as Omuan hunters stab the crocodile with their spears. In the foreground, an old man wearing a frog mask holds a bug up to his open mouth. The third one, a frog-like behemoth with 4 Omuan hunters riding on its back finds a small boy in the jungle. The hunters seem elated. In the foreground, a young woman wearing a frog mask holds a knife in one hand and a headless chicken in the other.
What were the clues for this one?
The 4th fresco says a frog-like behemoth wallows in a shallow pool as Omuans offer it urns of food and treasure as tribute. Cracks in the fresco obscure the head of a a female figure in the foreground, but you can see that it grasps a lit candle.
So I would speculate that the warning from the plaque regarding the walls of history telling all relates to this room in particular. And this room seems to suggest that we ought to don these different masks and make these various offerings.
One of us has to eat a bug.
Well, I think the picture shows the bug being given to a statue, right?
Oh, thank
It
God.
says mask holds a bug up to his open mouth.
His being okay, yes. It would appear that one of us will be eating a bug.
Not it.
It is but a bug. It is good protein. I will eat that. It's just fine. I had plenty of bugs in my forest. These are good to eat.
All right. Are we all agreed that 4 of us have to wear masks and do these shows of sacrifice, or does anyone have an alternative interpretation of these paintings?
No, I think that makes sense.
You're muted, Matthew.
Why? For what purpose? It says to give a tribute, but is it a tribute so we can open the sarcophagus, or can we just open the sarcophagus and avoid this tedious trial?
I would speculate that if we attempted to open the sarcophagus without doing these tasks, that some ill would befall us.
Well, you are the smart one.
All right. Do we have volunteers?
I will eat the bug.
I volunteer to try and guard you all as you do whatever it is you do.
I'll wear a mask.
Yeah, I'll do it. It's fine.
Thank God. Oh.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
Piju. I guess that would be for the 4th one.
Oh, I've got this one, and I've got that kind of one inside, and So-
Does anybody have a chicken that I can behead?
What Carl knows of chicken sacrifices and what Averine knows of chicken sacrifices might be different things.
What does Carl know? And let's see what Averine knows.
I would speculate that that is merely to get blood. So perhaps cutting like your hand, or not your hand because you use your hand, a different part of your body.
That sounds reasonable enough that Averine would also recognize it.
Shame we've already killed those guards.
So,
They would almost have good-
who's doing what?
I can
I'll
break
be
some
the-
points.
I'll be the.
Do you just throw coins, or do you do something else as well?
So I wear the mask and
Okay.
yeah.
You put on the mask, and you throw the coins at the shrine in front of you.
Throw 5 coins in the hands as those sowing seeds. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
And
I
the
will crash
coins-
that with you. Oh, look cold.
Okay. The coins clanger on the floor and seem to disappear as they just slide and phase away.
Okay.
Okay. However, you do notice that as you are done with that, you try to move the mask. That mask is not coming off.
Oh. Okay. Little help here. It's not coming off.
Just
Who's next?
sit still.
Nice. Okay. No, it's not coming off.
I'm wondering how much strength it relies to snap the neck. No. All right, so it's not coming off. It's just magically it's sealed on there. So who's next?
Power.
Yes, I'm just moving on. I think what do I need to do with this one?
Well,
So do you throw like
in
I
the
have
foreground,
a stab
Halfland's
to
wearing a fog mask
Yeah.
and holds a bug up in his open mouth. So you've got to put a bug in your mouth.
like behemoth wraps his tentacles around?
Do you need to wear the mask while you do all this?
Yeah.
I believe so. I will put on the mask.
Okay. You put on the mask.
Can I is there a mask is there a gap in the mask to eat?
There is one mask that happens to have an open mouth.
That one.
Thankfully, conveniently, not the one that Carmen's wearing.
No.
So you grab that mask, you put it on, you grab one cockroach or all 4, just to be safe.
It only shows
It says
one
a bug.
bug, so 1.
You chomp
So
down on that bug.
I approach the thing.
Do you actually eat it? Okay, you chomp it down. At that point, the cockroach in your mouth dissolves, disappears. Mask stuck to your face. Who's next?
Me.
Zola. Which one are you performing?
I'll be performing the headless chicken maneuver.
Okay.
So I will take the mask, get up here, and I will take bookmark, and I will slice my forearm with it.
Okay. So you draw blood. As the blade slides through your forearm, blood drips, but the blade, the wound behind the blade seems to be stitching itself back together, which is convenient, but the blood is still being drawn. So you are cutting yourself, but it's healing instantly. Mask stuck to your face. Who's doing the 4th one? Averine, what are you doing?
So I put on the mask. I grab the candle and I walk to Laszlo. So Laszlo, do you mind?
Because I'm assuming Laszlo is holding a torch.
I guess I'm holding the sword and ignite
yeah,
it,
flaming
so
sword.
it's lit up. Yep.
Okay. All right. The candle lights. As the flame ignites in there, the candle changes from its greenish hue to a clear white. As it does so, it disappears. The mask remains on your face. There is a loud clicking sound coming from the sarcophagus, and everyone currently wearing a mask is polymorphed into a frog, leaving just Laszlo and Pijo in the room.
Weenie! Oh! Gonna try and cover them.
I like to imagine that I still have scales covering half of my body.
They still look like each individual. So Towers is a blue frog. Carmen's is a green frog, but with blonde hair. Well, not hair, blonde streaks on it.
Everyone has warts and freckles that look like goggles across the top.
Exactly like that. And Zola has the telltale. It's a reddish hue to its skin, and it's got scales that don't belie an actual frog, but more the reptilian nature of her. And they're just bouncing around.
I'm gonna draw this.
The tower can wild shape or polymorphed. And
no, because the polymorph spell replaces all skills with that of the actual shape.
Laszlo looks at Pijo.
There's no way Pijo's touching that sarcophagus.
No. He kind of like with his sword kind of gestures like gather these things up. Gives kind of a, well, we signed up for this, I guess, and he's gonna go check out the now open sarcophagus.
Yeah, what are we gonna do? Has this happened before?
Can I stop? Can I attempt to stop Laszlo by like jumping in front of him and then just jumping a whole lot? Like,
that depends on Laszlo's ability to insight a frog.
Let's roll an insight check.
I'm gonna start crawling up on him and then onto his face, and I'm gonna like
my
keep him
insight's
from being
a
able to see
1.
what he's doing.
I'll help.
There is no way Laszlo is understanding what's going on.
You're frogs.
Carmen's gonna sit. Can she? Oh, she's on the ground. She can't really jump up onto it.
But you said, Pijo, I told gather these frogs, keep them safe, so that when all this magic is done, we can bring them back. You're just gonna go up to the sarcophagus, which you said like clicked the lid.
Yeah, there was a bit of a sound of a shift.
Oh, just kicking it off. Like not grabbing it, just kicking the lid straight off.
When Tower's hit points go to zero, when Tower is really hurt, he converts back to himself.
If you'd like to shoot one of your little friends with an arrow right through the heart, I will not stop you.
I don't have to be. They're not that. Well, maybe that will bring them back. I'm not sure. Is that a good idea?
I do not know either. So if you would like to try and possibly kill them,
Rini, is that a good idea? Do you want me to try it?
Is Zola Frog actually holding a hand up right now?
To the universe.
Okay, yeah. What's up?
I wanted to, Laszlo, we've established he has kicked the top of the sarcophagus off, yeah?
Yes.
I've established that he kicked. We hadn't heard what happened at that point. Maybe he hits it and nothing happens. We'll see.
Well, this is contingent on whether or not the top is...
The top falls off.
Okay.
What are you doing, Zola?
I want to get up underneath Frog Carmen and use all of my might with my froggy legs to jump and send her flying into the sarcophagus.
That's gonna need a skill check. Frog. So let me pull up the stats of a frog.
If she gets momentum and sees what I'm doing, she might be able to ricochet off me and then continue moving.
Well, Laszlo,
okay.
I think I know what you're doing.
As the dexterity high frog that Carmen would likely be, she could also jump up. So she could land on Laszlo and then just gonna go, oh, bounce and bounce.
So jumping is an athletic skill, and that them being strength based, frogs have a strength value of 1. However, frogs do have an interesting ability, that is the standing leap. The frog's long jump is up to 10 foot and its high jump is up to 5 foot with or without a running start. So I would suggest if Carmen is on your back, then you jump up at half height to 2.5 foot. Carmen then jumps off of you, can get up to 7.5 foot at least, somewhere around there. But we're going to need some form of targeting here. So I'm assuming you're going to be using your dexterity to be able
Yes.
to do so. So one or both of you at advantage, roll a d20 plus 1.
Go on, roll it.
Oh,
That's what I'm
roll
saying.
1d.
Or rather, each of you can roll once, and we'll take the highest out of the two.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh, not mine.
Oh.
Okay.
So that would be a 3 in total. Unfortunately, your ability to aim is a little off. Carmen goes straight up.
Because you
Straight
get
up.
Laszlo's attention.
Does she hit the
Laszlo,
ceiling? Does she
You
hit
can
the ceiling?
see
and-
there is a frog that's just suddenly come shooting up right next to you. What do you do? Rolls a natural 1 on insight. You're muted again, Matthew.
Frogs are stupid. They've clearly they're frogs who don't know what they're doing. They're like babies. Pijo, I told you, gather them together. They are jumping. They may get into danger. You need to keep them all together here.
Can Pedro have a bit of an insight check? Okay. maybe he's figuring
Have
out
Pijo
something.
roll an insight check.
No.
No.
Can Carmen's frog, although they can't,
I look into their
climb
sarcophagus.
Laszlo's leg and try and climb his body to then jump in?
I have
Like,
already
Pedro's just going to sit there and go, I'm so confused.
I have grabbed the frog and said, Pijo, do not let them crawl around. They will get in danger. Here, hold this one. Just hold them all together. And I will look into these sarcophagus.
As
The god-
honorable as the
the god-
concept, all right. As honorable as the concept is that the frogs would jump in and take the beating. Unfortunately, I think there's been enough failed attempts by all parties that we move on with. You absolutely did. So Laszlo, you look inside. First thing you see, a set of braces that seem to sparkle and shine. These braces are sat next to 20 arrows in a rotting leather quiver. Each of these arrows then has the remains of what looks like a large frog-like creature, a frogamoth's form. But the braces actually have images of the frogamoth carved into them. What do you do?
Pijo, and I want to clarify that when Laszlo kicked the lid off, this was his plan, and all the intervening stuff does not affect that. Pijo, which one of these... You touch something special and magical, and then you get the woohoo voice in your head. And who does not have one of those yet?
I think
Carmen and
I've got one. And Reen's got one.
and I have one.
And so is Zola. So yeah, Carmen and Tower.
he's jumping.
Can I tell which is which? I know they have
Yes.
markings, but I'm also an idiot.
Yes, you can tell which one is which.
I will grab the one that is jumping and throw her in on top of the bracers.
Okay.
Which was always kind of the plan, because I have Papazadal and I'm shrewd and conniving. And if something's going to kill someone for grabbing it, it'll be Carmen. So there you go.
Okay. So, a couple things happen when Carmen hits the braces. First thing, 2 crystal eyeballs roll out from inside the braces. So you've got 2 more crystal eyeballs in there. Next thing that happens, everyone currently a frog gets put back to their original form.
In my head, I imagine
Oh.
they're all in Pijo's arms, and then it's just bloop.
All except Carmen, who is knelt down with the braces in hand. The braces begin to glow as a watery light seems to ripple across the walls of the sarcophagus that you're currently inside. A monstrous tentacled shadow then reaches up to wrap itself around you tightly. The air begins to stink just in your immediate vicinity, and a rumbling voice echoes in. You're brave to summon me, but together we will crush the Undying One.
Oh, we will. Oh,
Will
we
you accept it?
Yeah.
Okay. You are now inhabited by Kubazan.
Yeah.
The Froggermoth, he is wild and spirited.
Yeah.
While inhabited by Kubazan, you gain the following flaw, which overrides any opposing flaw. I am fearless and not afraid to take risks. Great risks, actually. But the power, interestingly enough, while Kubazan inhabits you, your strength score becomes 23. Unless it is already higher. So Carmen, who is a mostly dex-based character, now has a strength score of 23.
She hulked out. She's like, ah!
There we go. Her skin has also turned a shade green as a reflection of Kubazan.
Like Glamora. This is awesome.
All right.
I'm
And
gonna
then,
pack those
so,
eyeballs up quickly.
okay. You also, so you've got the eyeballs. You now, as a group, have 6 crystal eyeballs, which is good. You also have the braces of archery.
Oh, okay.
Now, you being inhabited by Kubazan immediately understand what these are. You might have seen them before. They do require attunement. While wearing these braces, you have proficiency with the longbow and shortbow, and you gain +2 bonus to damage rolls on ranged attacks made with such weapons.
Okay.
It's worth saying, while Kubazan is inside of you,
Yeah.
someone else in the party can attune to these items without needing to worry about the potential possession. It's just if Kubazan leaves you, he then goes to possess whoever's wearing the braces.
Right, okay.
Right?
Okay. Yep.
So
Okay.
these braces are very useful for people who tend to spend most of their time using a longbow or shortbow.
Yeah, okay. Cool. I would be like, oh, my mum would love these. Oh my God. Okay. Well, these are amazing. Guys, these are absolutely amazing. They're like, I could wear them and be like, what? But P-Jow,
Yeah.
I think these might be more helpful. I mean, you're the one who uses a bow more than any of us.
What do they do?
They're braces of archery, and they'll give you extra damage. They'll help you with your bows.
Oh. Ty doesn't really know what he's attuned to right now. I don't know.
Do you want
if
to take
he's
them for
or-
now, and then we can work it out?
Yes.
Can't
Yeah.
get tuned to 3. Yeah.
I don't know what he's got. He's got the goggles night. The lantern's attunable, isn't it?
I have the lantern.
And do you have the lantern at the moment?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I don't think he's got.
He doesn't have. He shouldn't have 3.
Well,
Okay.
his
Yeah.
his god power lets him get one more thing attuned as well.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh, definitely then.
That's cool. Okay.
Carmen, how do you feel? You look a little different. Is the thing inside you okay? Is it not okay?
I think it's okay. I mean, I didn't have any. I didn't disagree with what he wanted to do. He wants to get rid of the monster downstairs. So he seems all right. I'm not hearing anything. Feel all right. I think we're okay.
Carmen, FYI, I have just made the adjustment to your sheet. Your strength score is now automatically blessed by Kubazan to be a 23. And everything else cascades from there.
I feel like I could lift things. Let me try and lift you. And she's going to just try and pick Laszlo up.
You'll be able to.
Yeah.
Your max lift, your max weight lift right now is 345. Which is a lot more than it was.
Tower.
And I've only got 71 pounds of armor plus the sword and like my natural body weight of like, I don't know, 180. So I'm only in the 250 range.
Power's gonna feel very under.
As she starts to just bench press you.
Ah,
All right.
How
this
did
is
Yes.
amazing. I am so weak normally. I don't know why. This is so cool. This is awesome. This is good.
I'm curious to know, how did Papa Zottle feel just now about Kubazan's vessel picking him up?
Not too happy.
I mean,
Not at all.
Laszlo normally wouldn't allow it, but he wants to know what she can do. So, as a way of knowing what's going on, and especially since the bench press and not something more like forcing me to kneel or something like that. As long as since it's just a bench press and not a contested strength check.
Yeah.
Laszlo doesn't mind so much. Papa Zottle, I don't know.
Biding his time, probably going to get you back.
Is likely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we are all done here then.
Mm-hmm.
Well done, everyone.
You did good.
That's cool. Good. That was a good room.
There were other things in the tomb as well, more than just the bracers.
So we have 2 more eyeballs.
And were there arrows in there of some kind?
There were. Good point. And Carmen will pick up the arrows and go like blow to dust.
They'll turn to dust with just the simple.
Oh.
You are so strong, even your breath destroys
God.
ancient relics.
No. Oh, sorry, Pijal.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I read that in a book once. Yeah. Okay.
Well, onward and downward, I suppose. How many more eyes do we need?
4. And you've got plenty of directions you can head.
Yaka, tell us a joke while we get ready to risk our lives in another doorway.
You want another joke? Well, I just don't you just can't get the creative juices happening instantly.
Why do you need? Okay. Well, in that case,
of ourselves.
we were ready to come down this hallway doing battle. So far, we have done none. So I think we can probably go through these doors and face whatever is in front of us.
You want me to check it first?
Yeah.
That is very wise. I am not foolhardy.
And we've
But then afterwards we will go in and crush whatever is in our way.
Totally.
As you look at these doors, they are rusted doors, but they're made of iron that seems to be just curling inwards, turning orange with rust. The iron doors are carved with the images of leering and laughing skulls. They're almost turned towards one another, laughing at each other. But the door does not appear to be locked or trapped with your passive.
Looks good.
Who opens the door?
Carmen's gonna kick it down because she's now not scared of anything.
As the doors get kicked down, they break completely.
And Laszlo will be right there to put up his shield.
The rusted doors just break off of the frame. Beyond it, 10 foot beyond the doors, you can see a thick tapestry curtain that's hanging from wall to wall in this 20-foot wide room, 10-foot tall space. Its embroidery shows a scene of merriment. Nobles feasting around a banquet table, a roast boar on a platter, and servants pouring wine.
Looks like home.
It's quite nice.
Didn't Yaka say something about something behind the tapestry? Or on the tapestry?
Said that they were important, didn't he? And to look at them carefully.
Pay attention to the pictures.
Yeah.
A picture is worth 1,000 words, and I like talking, so that's valuable.
Nice.
I will turn off my sword so that it is not on fire at the moment, and I will use the sword to kind of push the tapestry aside to see if it is free hanging or if it is attached to the wall or if there might be a space behind it, but I am not touching it directly.
It slides along a rail in the ceiling. Behind it, another curtain hangs, showing the same scene, but it has changed a little bit. This one has descended into depravity. The nobles are now fighting with each other. They partake in carnal encounters on the table, or are sprawled all on the floor in puddles of vomit.
Is this also like home?
Sometimes.
Depends on who's in for the night.
If mom and dad were away, yeah.
So when the cat is away, how you say the mice, the rats come out to play?
It's mice. Yeah, you don't say rats, you say mice. But yeah, you know, you have fun.
Well, I will.
Result in vomiting.
I will carefully do the same and see the second one.
Moving past the second tapestry, you see yet a third tapestry. Now the image has shifted completely. It is a scene of absolute horror. Nobles are now feasting on servants. They're eating each other alive and setting fire to the hall, and the roast boar that was on the table is now alive and laughing on its platter.
So this isn't like home. This is definitely not like home. My party's never ended like this.
Yes, unfortunately, this is more like my homeland.
Oh wow, you partied hard.
No. This is my homeland, not my home. Few of us are noble born.
Okay, so...
I am not certain if we want to open the next curtain. I get an ominous feeling that there may be some great danger behind.
This is what you are, is it not? Let us listen.
Right, but so many of you are back in the hallway. I would be more comfortable if we were all together in here.
I'd like to take a look at the first tapestry.
Yeah, let's have a look at them all again.
Okay.
That is wise.
Knowing what Laszlo has seen, I'm looking for any clues as to what would cause this transformation, to see if there is some villain lurking in the background, or if there is something particularly off about the feast that they're eating.
Or if what similarities there are in each one, if there are any.
Roll a investigation check.
I'll
Okay.
put my goggles down and look super closely.
Maximum effort.
So with advantage, 25.
Okay. Looking at all of the threads amongst all of this, you do notice that maybe by the way it was created or through other means or whatnot, it always looks like the eyes of the boar that's on the table are alive and looking at you. You notice between the three right now, the boar is, at first, it looks like just a normal boar on the table, being feasted upon, but no one's actually cut into the boar yet. They're feasting on the rest of the table, the banquet table, but the boar is intact. The next tapestry has a similar image, but the scene is descended into the depravity and the scene that you can see. Similarly, in the center of the table, untouched, is the boar. But this time the boar looks a little different. Its eyes look a little bit more alive. Its mouth doesn't have like an apple inside of it. It almost looks like it's starting to smirk a little bit to one side. And then you look at the third one and compare it, the same thing. It's the roast boar. It looks alive now, sat on the platter, admiring the scene before it as it laughs wholeheartedly.
So just for clarification, it looks alive as it's depicted being alive, or it looks alive as there's an actual boar standing in front of me?
It looks like a depiction that looks more realistic than any other thread on any of the tapestries. It's almost
the
like
eyes and-
someone took two different art styles, one for the boar, one for everything else, and the boar is placed inside of it in that realistic style.
You said that the eyes also are the eyes different, or are they just part of that kind of the more realistic, like the boar is?
It's just like the boar. Yeah. And it's like the trick with a lot of paintings. If it's looking directly forward, it almost always looks like it's looking at you.
So it looks like the boar may be the villain in this case. I don't know if we are meant to interact with the paintings in any, or with the tapestries in any way to reduce the risk going forward. But if we were, I would speculate that defeating the boar is important.
I will draw aside the first two curtains so that it's, they're against the wall and it opens up as much space as possible. And perhaps it is, but who knows? Perhaps the next portrait will tell us the truth. And I will prepare my shield and I will open the curtain.
Well, why don't we rip the curtains? Why don't we just slash at them? Where the boar is.
As Laszlo has pulled aside the curtain, beyond it you see the rotting head of a giant boar has been mounted on the wall behind this final curtain. Fresh blood and gore seems to just dribble from its tusks all over the wall and the floor beneath it. We're going to roll for initiative.
Well, it looks like someone's already defeated the boar, so there's not. That certainly doesn't appear to have been the solution.
Okay.
Holy crap, I rolled a 1.
Get open curtains.
One, two, three.
I rolled 3 as much better. Pijow.
No. Like this, Rini.
Okay. All right. Now that everyone has rolled initiative, that is just so that we can track specific order of operations right now. I need everyone in the room, which happens to be everyone. Thank you, Laszlo. To roll
You're
a
welcome, great
wisdom,
big voice in the sky.
a wisdom saving throw, please, against being charmed. So if you have advantage against charms, roll with advantage.
You're
But I've got 0 wisdom.
you're half elf. You have advantage.
I'll take what I rolled.
Was it wisdom saving throw? Did you say so?
Yeah.
Wisdom save, yep.
And Tower and Piju would have, I think, perhaps a bonus from Laszlo.
Do we have a bonus? What?
Laszlo, do you have the
Has
aura
to
of
be-
courage?
I do have the aura of courage. I think it's only 10 feet, though.
It's 10 feet, so Tower and Pijo would count. Okay.
Aura of protection.
Well, Peter just rolled a 18 plus whatever.
Okay.
Yep, you'd get plus 2 to that from my aura.
So 20.
So I have a. Is your plus 2 included in your wisdom save, Laszlo?
It is.
Okay. Can I get a wisdom save from Tower instead of a strength save?
Oh. Can I do strength? Sorry.
What's the difference? I'll take 2 off then.
Let's take 2 off then.
You take
Okay.
2 off?
All right. So everyone else succeeds.
Then add 2 because that's 26.
Everyone else succeeds except Laszlo.
Oh.
Okay.
Dun dun dun.
Okay. Now, I know we've rolled initiative, but according to, like, obviously that's meta. You guys don't know really anything's happening. Laszlo is the only one affected.
Lazlo's going to
Okay.
the top of the initiative order. Wow.
I am going to private message Laszlo something real quick.
Do that through Skype if you.
Yeah, doing it through Skype. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right, Matthew. So Here you go. Let me know when you got that message.
Oh, great. Got it.
All right. So, Solar, you see a boar on the wall. Everything's fine. What do you do?
Stay put and nothing, because I still don't know what's going on. Just the head doesn't look like it's animated or anything yet, has it?
No animation from the head whatsoever. Pijo, same.
Yep, I'll just stay put and stay quiet like I have been.
Did we, the wisdom save, did we feel an effect?
No, it's not one that you would notice on yourself if you succeeded from it.
Yaka, I could have sworn you said something about the mask behind the tapestry.
Oh, you did.
What did you say, Yaka?
Well, I can't remember what I specifically said, but it doesn't look like it used to.
Do tell.
I don't know. Used to look a little cleaner, less blood. Any actions from you, Averine?
So is the mask different than the boar his head? Are these two separate things, or is that the same thing?
There isn't a mask. It is
Oh.
just a it is just a boar's head stuck to the wall, like a trophy mounted.
I guess I'll wait for Laszlo to tell me what he's discovered with that hog's head.
Same with Towler.
Oh, no, Tower's going to do something. Having heard that it looked cleaner before, and having that the oh no, stick on the reverse. I'm going to cast Healing Word on it.
Okay. Cast Healing Word on the boar.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Fair enough.
I want to see if that cleans it up.
It doesn't seem to have any effect on the boar, unfortunately.
Okay.
Okay. Carmen?
Laszlo, are you okay?
Can't really respond.
Okay. Is he? Oh God, sorry. Is he standing still? From us, he looks okay.
He looks okay.
Okay. Carmen, just out of curiosity, is going to she'll probably go up to the first tapestry, and then just oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. And just maybe pop a hole into it, like just slice it down where the boar's.
Okay. Cutting through.
Yeah.
The tapestry tears. It's damaged, but there doesn't seem to be any sort of noticeable effect that happens as a result of it. Okay, Captain.
So
Laszlo, what do you do?
purely for flavor, and here's a question that I had. Am I wearing a helm? We've never talked about it. I'm in full plate, and my pitcher doesn't have a helmet. I was just wondering, because that hasn't come up before.
I mean, that's up to you, but I would think that a lot of the discussions and
Yeah.
mechanically you don't necessarily need a helm, but also mechanically there's no reason why you wouldn't be wearing it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's all the same, no helm. I am going to just walk right up to that mask. How high is it off the ground?
It's about 5 foot high.
Total?
So the nostril,
Where's the mouth?
is pretty much it's pretty much the center of it is the snout, and that's 5 foot off the ground.
Okay, so it's just the right height that I could just lay up and like put my head inside it.
Yep.
Great, I'll do that, and then I'll end my turn.
Okay. Placing your head inside, everyone else watches Laszlo do this, as the boar is then going to clamp down on top of his head.
Laszlo, what the hell are you doing?
How many hit points you got, Laszlo?
Well, I got a little healing, but not a ton. I've got 43 hit points left.
If this damage were to reduce your hit points to 0, your head would be decapitated, right?
Sure. Well, I don't. That depends on the trap. I don't know how death saving works on this.
Instead, what happens is you take 32 points of piercing damage.
Woo!
Or slashing damage, sorry, as the boar's jaws clamp down.
No helm, but I've got a little bit of a collar. A little collar there, catch me. Ah!
It's holding onto his head tightly.
Am I still charmed
It
after
is.
that?
Grappled. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Each time you take damage, so go ahead and roll another wisdom save.
All right.
Okay. You're no longer charmed,
Great.
but your head is grappled by a boar on the wall. Probably freaking out.
Laszlo.
Zola, what do you do?
Far too Rashemi to freak out. Very stoic, but yeah.
Zola.
Oh, I start screaming now.
I will stab it with my steely knife.
Stabbing the boar?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Specifically where on the boar?
Gonna go for the eye.
Okay, so avoiding the mouth where Laszlo's head currently sits.
The way that
Go
you
ahead.
described it, it sounds like a vice grip, so I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything there.
Okay. Yeah. 13 to hit. That hits, and you deal 12 points of slashing. I'm going to say Laszlo counts for sneak attack.
I've got him
Laszlo
preoccupied
counts
for you.
attack.
In terms of you dealing sneak attack to the, like an ally within 5 feet of your target.
Oh, I don't need that in order to do sneak
Oh,
attack.
true.
But it's not an object.
No, it's actually a living creature that you attack.
Oh, right.
Okay. 26 points of damage is enough to kill the beast that is there. Its mouth lets go of Laszlo and drops from the wall. All charm effect in the room is released.
So
Everyone's back fine.
That was straight up just me just sliding that sword into its head and then pulling it out and done deal.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Ah, gosh, I don't know how to do Russian cursing.
Perfect.
Just like that. Please don't hate us if you actually do speak Russian and he somehow was offensive. All
Or
right.
give us tips.
or send us tips. That's right.
So, as the head falls to the ground, a small pouch drops to the ground behind it.
Okay.
Okay. Does anyone pick up the pouch?
Is that shinies?
Peach just sniffing.
Is that shinies?
I'll kind of hockey puck it towards Averine and Carmen back there.
I fall out a little unceremoniously on my butt, and I'm just kind of feeling my neck, which is bleeding copiously.
I'll take quite a few hit points. Let me try this, and I'll get PG to cast healing words.
Okay.
No, healing spirit.
Healing spirit. Fair enough. With healing spirit, everyone can use it. So 10 rounds, 10d6 of healing to everyone.
That's fine.
26. I rolled really well. I don't even need any. Can I give my healing to someone else?
Don't need it.
I give my healing to Laszlo.
Oh, if only it worked out that way.
Yeah. Laszlo, what's going on?
Perhaps these and Tower will pick up the pouch. Perhaps these are more eyes. And in the pouch.
Inside the pouch is a bent pair of golden spectacles,
Oh.
a leather eye patch, and a platinum hairpin.
Hey, is that an eye
Oh.
patch?
That is
Another eye patch.
I'm going to pull out the spectacles and show Rini, and then the eye patch, and then the Hairpin?
The hairpin Carmen's gonna be interested in.
Is Zola still wearing one eye patch?
Yeah, so if she had that, she'd have like 2 eye patches.
Two eye
It wouldn't work.
Yeah.
She can just like roll one down, depending on what she needs.
Do any of these feel magical? Or have a
No, none of them are magical, and none of them are eyes, unfortunately.
and they're mundane?
It's-
This is. Then Tower's just gonna look back on the tapestries. Has anybody in the tapestries feature an eye patch or spectacles or a hairpin?
No.
I will investigate this thing more completely, and by investigate I mean look at it and try to rip the jaw straight off the hinge because I am frustrated with it.
It's
No.
magical. It's
Okay.
mundane.
You can understand that these items would have been collected from individuals, the head of individuals who had put their head inside of it previously.
Is
In
the
fact,
hair-
Yaka will recognize the platinum hairpin.
Oh, okay.
I remember her. Oh yeah. Oh.
Care to elaborate?
She lost her head. She went crazy.
No.
She went crazy and lost her head. I'm not sure which order that was.
This is the first joke that Laszlo gets about losing, and he loses it. He just laughs hysterically. Avorine, did not that journal from the Who's He What's It fellow have details about this kind of thing?
I don't think it did, or perhaps I missed it.
Well,
Doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
So,
Well,
where next?
no.
we have corridors inside the
rooms.
stairwell to investigate. Shall we go make our way?
Yes. Although, now that we are in an empty room, if I can take a couple minutes to put sages and balms into my neck, perhaps for about, long enough to coagulate the blood, that would be nice. Can I
Coagulate is a wonderful word.
word? Is there time to take a short rest in that room, spend some hit dice and such, or if not, we'll just carry on?
It's up to the party.
I would like very much to wait here about 45 minutes to an hour. Feel some aloes and balms to, the part of my neck that nearly came off.
Let us explore the rest of this level, and then we will rest. We need to take a long rest before we face the beholder. Maybe do not.
Well, yes, but that is like spending a night to sleep. I just want to sit here for a minute.
Well, we got time. Have we got time? For 45 minutes, we can sit for 45 minutes. Surely.
He is the only one who is hurt.
He is, but
Well,
that
that
doesn't
is
mean it's not
certainly
important.
true.
Doesn't mean it's not important.
Just stay at the back.
No, you make a fair point. I will take the rear guard if we will be pressing on. It is not my usual operating procedure, but you are not the usual operating group, and so I will guard the rear as we advance forward.
Okay. Looking down the first corridor, it's a 20-foot long corridor that ends in a huge carving of a snarling jackal's head. Not a gargoyle, demon's face that you've seen in the other traps in other situations. This is a jackal's head protruding from the wall. You can see through a tiny gap in its fangs that's about eye height, like small gap that you can just look through in its mouth, that there is a chamber beyond here. And there is some light that seems to be shining from behind this. It's a nice warm yellow hue.
Can I go check that out for you guys?
Peter's gonna fly in. Is there any secret doors?
Not that he can see. Zola, did you want to go in? Yep.
Yeah,
So
and I'm gonna stay on
roll
the
up.
ceiling.
Yeah, staying on the ceiling, looking at the room upside down. Roll a perception check. Okay. So that that would be a passive 21. Yeah. All right. So inside, what you can see is that 4 torches illuminate stone sphinxes in 4 corners of this 15-foot high room. It is a huge room. You can see the torches cast a flickering light across hieroglyphs carved into the floor. At the center of the room, there is a gold inlaid funeral barge, atop which a 3-foot tall stone dais. Resting on the deck of the barge is a small golden sarcophagus, decorated with horned rabbits.
Oh, Ijin! Ijin!
You can also see that a dark shaft opens in the ceiling directly above the barge.
Okay.
So using your memory of positioning, you're currently directly below, or at least the barge is directly below the big hole of darkness on the level above.
Oh, it's the screaming room.
Okay. Now, as you're looking through this hole at this room, you see a slab of wall to the east suddenly grind up into the ceiling, and a dwarf wearing a turban and chainmail creeps into the tomb. He brandishes a shield in front of him as he treads cautiously across the floor. He takes a step. Everything's okay. Takes another step. Okay. Third step, you hear a loud click. Then a deafening buzzing rises as locusts pour out of the mouths of the Sphinx statues, quickly engulfing him and tearing his flesh clean off. You watch as his body, with all the screams that he causes that would have echoed up the shaft, just descend into this mass of bone inside his armor with his shield. His bone is picked perfectly clean. Then all the locusts just vanish away.
So you guys hear some retching as she's dry heaving because she can't throw up anymore. There's nothing left in her stomach.
What was that scream, Zola?
So, you okay?
That was a tomb dwarf, I'm assuming. A swarm of locusts came out of nowhere because he stepped on something that he shouldn't have stepped on,
Okay.
and they
Who's the
picked
bones?
his bones clean, and then they flew away.
Ooh.
It didn't look like a tomb dwarf. It looked like an adventurer dwarf.
Oh, no.
Like an actual dwarf from the surface, but he was wearing a turban
Okay.
on him. So he didn't look like the tomb dwarfs that you've seen so far in the dungeon, which are wearing those green masks.
Then I will retcon and just say dwarf.
Okay. Is there anything on the ground? Did he stand on something?
Definitely seems like he stood on a trap.
Okay.
And he was very careful on his way towards his position, like he was expecting it.
Okay.
And there's a big hole in the ceiling, which implies that this is actually positioned beneath the screaming demon mouth that we saw above.
Okay.
And also there are 4 creatures in the corners of the rooms. They look like lions with the heads of people.
They also look like statues.
And they're statues,
Yeah.
as far as I can tell. Oh, and that's where the
Issues.
locusts came from, I think.
But as you look, the entryway of the that was lifted up when the person stepped through had closed the moment he had stepped onto a tile. It shut down behind him.
Yeah,
and he was okay with that.
And triggering the trap also closed the door behind him, and he seemed like he expected it.
What side of the room was that door on?
I'm imagining the left.
East side.
Oh, no, right. East side.
Do you think we're able to crawl through this mouth like we've crawled through other mouths? Or do you think we have to go through that door?
I'm gonna check the material that the mouth is made out of, see if there's any way that we could easily bust the teeth out of the jackal.
I am generally opposed to climbing through mouths at this point.
Noted.
So, looking at the material that is the jackal head, it is stonework, and the hole is just big enough to be able to look through, not even big enough to really fit a hand in there. But the jackal itself seems to be tingling a little bit with arcane energy.
Can I scratch it behind the ear and see what it does?
It doesn't do anything when you scratch it behind the ear.
It's worth a shot.
Fake.
Everyone loves screeches.
So I'm getting an energetic vibe from this. I can't, I don't know anything more than that. Maybe Averine, you'd like to take a look, or Carmen?
Can we?
happy to.
Can Karma do Arcana check?
Arcana would just identify that it is magical.
Okay, fine.
So it doesn't really help you too much. You need to identify or detect magic to at least find out the school.
Oh. Okay. Anybody else have anything they can use?
I'll take a look.
Okay.
But before I'm going to cast Identify, but before I do, I take a look inside the room also, because Carl heard there were hieroglyphics, so Averine would be interested in knowing that.
You will watch the same thing repeat step by step. Okay? Exactly everything that Zola watched, you will watch happen again. So, looking into the room, it is a well-lit, well-decorated, large room with 4 stone sphinxes in the corners, torches lighting the place, central dais with a barge on top, and Ijin's tomb, Ijin's sarcophagus. The floor tiles in here, each one is carved with the hieroglyphs of a different animal in here. Specifically, things like, actually, you know what? I feel comfortable moving everyone to this map.
Oh.
Can you all see the space?
Laszlo does not know what that means, but Grigori is having flashbacks.
You must not.
Is there a vulture?
There is, in fact, a vulture right
Oh.
next to the doorway. So,
And that's-
Averine, as you look at these, it's a bit tilted because you're looking at it side on, but you can see that there is the vulture step first, and then a series of different images and hieroglyphs spreading out from there. You have different animals, a scepter, a doorway, a bowl, a footprint, a reed, different things. So not specifically just the animals of the tomb of the gods. Specifically, these are just different sigils.
Very well. Well, it looks like we'll have to determine the correct sequence.
Did it happen to look like where? So did that whole thing just replay again in front of Averine? Is that what you just said?
Every step.
So
And
he steps against about same guy.
Same guy.
Okay.
Same
Right.
guy. Every time he steps onto the vulture step, then steps forward onto the next one.
Yeah.
Boom. Trap triggers, goes, the locusts go crazy and eat him alive.
Not when he steps onto the vulture. Second
No.
vulture.
Well, he went from the vulture to the one in front of it,
Right.
and that triggered everything.
Yeah. Okay.
How was Evelyn doing that?
So I'm going to cast Identify on the mask.
Okay. You will identify and be able to understand that this has a form of divination magic attached to it. The divination magic specifically to show you a slightly altered version of the tomb, a cleaner version, and to replay through the death of the last person that went through this room. Okay, and everyone that goes into to look through will also see. What you will also notice is there is also additional magic on this that even the Identify spell does find. Usually Identify doesn't find curses or anything, but this thing is also a barrier for conjuration magic, such that any attempt to bypass this doorway and enter that room through means other than the door will result in the person being teleported somewhere else in the dungeon. Okay.
Then perhaps the mouth above us is the only way in. This would be the same location, yes?
And what's a way in? The door is another way in.
It seems safer to not have to negotiate the floor tiles.
Well, if we have someone who can fly, then...
Yes, you're talking about falling from above if we did not negotiate the tiles. Flying is fine, and this incredibly strong woman here, I bet if she got a running start, she could probably just jump onto the boat.
Probably.
Well, the ease at which the dwarf entered the room suggests that there is a level of expectation that the dwarf fella seemed to have. Perhaps there are additional clues. Yaka, what do you know about that room in there? And
only that everyone that's gone in hasn't come out.
Is this room of particular significance?
I think if you look through the hole, you can see that there's a god's tomb in there. But they're all stuffy individuals. You don't, especially the one that, you don't want to deal with these fellows. In fact, I think what you need to just do is focus on the task at hand, grab those eyeballs, go deal with Belcorge, get your skull key, and then hurry up and join me here for the rest of eternity.
Do I sense something in his language and in his tone that I could maybe pick up on that suggests there's another reason why he might not want us to touch the gods?
Roll an insight check. Yeah. There is definitely something else behind there. Some other reason why he wants you to... Some specific reason why he suggests you shouldn't get involved in the gods.
What are you really trying to tell us, Yaka? Be honest.
I am being honest. You don't need to waste your time with all of the gods. Just do what you were doing.
I don't think you would care how we spend our time, especially with how long you've been down here in the room that you've been locked in. I don't think that's it. Why don't you just be honest?
Roll a persuasion check. Okay, but only because I like you.
Thank you.
wherever you are. I have been given a special task, a mission, but really, it pains me to have to do the mission, but I kind of have to do it. You know, it's kind of in the creation of me in the form that I am. But our Lord and God Acererak has instructed me to keep you busy and hopefully lead you to your deaths.
Okay, well, thank you for your honesty.
No problem. So don't go in there. Definitely don't touch the sarcophagus, and you really don't. Well, anyways.
Yaka, do you not think there are eyeballs in there?
Okay, so there may be eyeballs in there, but
Has anyone ever faced Belcor, or is he never been challenged?
no, he's not been challenged. That door has not actually ever been opened
He must be
since
very
he was
bored.
put inside.
But we still require these eyeballs.
But
Or is that just another ruse?
how do you sing with him if door's never been opened?
With the mind. Mind singing is the way to go.
Okay.
It sounds kind of like inward singing, because you never have to
Mhm.
stop.
Exactly. You don't have to breathe. It helps when you don't have lungs. Like, hey,
All right. Well, there's this other door, and I would like to check out what's beyond that door before we go back upstairs and try to jump through the mouth.
Okie doke.
Yeah, cool.
first thing you guys notice as you move around, obviously the stairs down this floor go down to the bottom floor of the staircase. Okay? There is the 4 gargoyle statues, and there is a hole in the middle of the floor that that descends further. But looking past, like not actually looking down to the next floor, you look down the next corridor, and it ends in a T-junction 20 feet away, turns abruptly, and within minutes you'd go and you'd see, oh, we're here in relation to the iron plate.
Okay.
Okay? However, looking down the corridor from your current position, the other end seems to be filled, well, not filled, but seems to be a puddle of a couple inches of water at the end.
Okay.
Nice, clean, well illuminated water.
We must enter the water with weapons drawn.
No problem.
Okay?
Calm has her swords out.
I'll actually get on the ground for this and do exactly as the plaque has instructed.
Yeah. Okay.
Farewell will draw his long sword, his great sword.
All right. We just clear off all of this. All right.
I just really enjoy how we all like meander our tokens down the hallway one time at a time.
So, in front of you, still puddles of water cover the floor of this 15-foot wide hallway. The ceiling, like other ceilings in this space, is about 15 foot tall. The walls are slick with moisture and set with murals showing animal-headed humanoids all in armor, most of which appear to be brandishing real weapons that are hanging on the wall. So you've got a picture of a stork-headed male with a hand axe, and it looks like he's holding a hand axe, and there's actually a hand axe on the wall. You can see a lizard-headed female wielding maces, or a mace, sorry, and the mace is actually there. You see a panther-headed male with a blowgun, an unarmed hawk-headed female, a goat-headed male with sickles, and a frog-headed female with trident. Okay. You also spot that about 3 foot off the floor is a small crawlway to the east that digs outwards. Again, just like all of the other hallways, before too long, it turns.
Does it turn south?
It turns southwards.
And we logically know where we are. This must
You
be
can make a
logical.
logical conclusion.
Yeah. That was the corridor that goes down.
Ah, okay.
But we don't.
Does the hawk-headed female, is she... Are any of them apparently in the water?
So, what? Sorry, in fact, I should also clarify a little bit further. Halfway down the corridor, you see a pure wall of rippling, transparent curtain of water. Past it, you see a mirror image of what you have right here. Okay. So, none of them appear to be stood in water. All of them appear to be wielding weapons, except for the hawk-headed female.
Okay.
And is she positioned above where the rest of them are? Does anything indicate she's floating and using light of some kind?
No, she is not, though roll a perception check. Okay. You are able to notice that the coloration of the stonework in her head, specifically, is slightly off compared to everything else. It almost looked like, while everything else is painted stone, her head is painted clay. It's a slight difference in the coloration, but just in her head.
Hey guys, that hawk lady, her head's made out of some other material.
And she's the one not carrying a weapon. Is that what you say, Zola?
Yeah, there's something up with that. There's some clue there.
And these are murals on the wall?
Yeah, murals on the wall wielding real weapons. Or the weapons are hung over the murals.
Walk through water with weapon in hand.
Sorry.
She's not walking if she's a hawk. She would fly, so she wouldn't need to walk through the water.
That was my thought too initially, but she doesn't have wings. It's just the head.
Oh, okay. But
And there is a stork-headed male wielding hand axes. So there are bird-headed individuals with hand axes.
All right. Sorry. Do the creatures on the wall represent the same creatures that of the gods?
Frog-headed female, goat-headed male, hawk-headed female, no. Panther-headed, no. So no, they don't.
Are these creatures the same as the hieroglyphs on the ground?
No, because the hieroglyphs on the ground also had non-animalistic hieroglyphs. Okay.
So do you think that we're supposed to actually take the weapons off the walls and walk with those in hand?
It seems to be the suggestion. But the fact that, well, the dwarf, did he have a weapon in his hand?
Yeah, I know he had a shield.
He had a shield up, moving. He had a weapon, but it wasn't drawn.
I was thinking that perhaps the dwarf is the one who... The reason that the hawk doesn't have a weapon is the dwarf grabbed it, but...
Is there if that, like, would there be an imprint of where the previous weapon that's not there anymore would have been?
Yeah.
If there was one there? Like, if it had been there for 50 years, it would have left some sort of imprint and then been removed.
Specifically for her, no. Seems like she isn't even designed to be wielding a weapon. She is painted on differently. from all of the rest.
I would like to take a closer look at this hawk lady.
Okay. Roll a perception check. Or investigation if you actually start fiddling with the clay.
Yeah, I would like to... The things that are different about her, I want to take special note of with my goggles. 28.
Okay. You will notice that, in fact, the discoloration and the different material is not her entire head. It's actually a 1 foot by 1 foot square on the wall. It's about 6 foot up, so just at about head height for most average individuals. There is a perfect square of clay on the wall, where everything else is stone.
As if this is some sort of mechanism that gets sprung should certain circumstances come to pass?
More a case of as if it can be shifted and easily moved.
All right, this clay portion right here looks movable, so I'm gonna poke it with my wand. And if that doesn't do it, I'll poke it with my hand.
I'm gonna get
You'll poke your wand through, and it goes and slides right through the wet clay. And it pokes something behind, a little tink.
Oh.
I'll do that with my wand to mess up the clay a little bit more.
Okay. You break it up enough that you can be able to see what is beyond the clay. It is a small 1 foot by 1 foot cube alcove with a single crystal eyeball sat inside of it.
I take the eyeball.
You now have, what, 7 eyeballs?
Yeah.
There you go.
Go.
Okay.
All right. The hawk lady apparently isn't a clue for how to proceed. She was merely concealing this eyeball. Having said that, I guess that means that we should each grab a weapon and walk through this curtain of water.
How many weapons are there? Are there enough for all of us?
So there are 6 images along the wall, one of which is unarmed. So you have a frog-headed female with trident, goat-headed male with sickle, panther-headed male with blowgun, lizard-headed female with mace, and stork-headed male with hand axe.
So less.
Did were any of them dual wielding?
No, none of them were dual wielding. The reason why it's plural, I said plural, is actually because there is duplicates on the other side that you would see.
Okay. Well,
All right.
Carmen will take the trident because it's been held by the
Frog-headed female.
frog-like lady. Yeah, the frog-like lady.
Okay.
So that makes sense for her, so she'll take the trident.
All right. Now, you're a little bit closer to the wall of water right now as you grab the trident, because the trident is right up against the wall of water.
Yeah.
You roll a perception check.
Okay.
Okay. The wall of water seems to shift ever so slightly as you move the trident.
Oh, okay.
Just as you move the trident a little bit, you see it almost waves left and right like it's reacting to the presence of the trident.
Okay. Okay. Guys, that wall's moving a little bit with the weapon.
Well, perhaps you should keep it out and walk with it then.
Is it dark weapon? Is it both of us?
I think it's just this one at the moment. Does somebody else want to pick one up and just see?
Using a different weapon, as Averine does. You're muted right now, but I figured that's what you were doing. No reaction. No reaction.
Okay.
Maybe the trident is the secret weapon.
Can I just walk? Can I walk a little bit closer, and then just? How long is the trident?
It's a maybe a 10-foot. Well, how long would a trident actually be? It'd be a
6 foot?
yeah, about 5 foot, the same sort of height as a spear.
Okay, yeah.
Spear would be about 7, 6 to
Well, no,
okay,
go
7
for
feet.
it.
It's at least shorter than I am, so it's below 6'7".
Yeah, okay.
So-
So I would then just try and just gently just tap,
Okay.
like, put it in the way of the waterfall.
Carmen lifts the trident and pokes it into the waterfall, and we'll find out what happens in 15 minutes after we've taken a bit of a break. So, on your screens, you are about to see this week's Who's That Monster? Remember, it has something to do with last week's session. So, type in the chat what creature you think it is, and we will see after the break who was right. See you in 15.
Bye.
Welcome back after the break, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. So, today's Who's That Monster is the Nikoloth. All right, so if we remember last week, it wasn't actually a creature that they fought, but Zola did still have to stab it a few times. It was the statue of the Nikoloth that was holding on to 2 of those crystal balls. Okay. We'll continue on with our adventure. So, we left with Carmen placing the trident into the water's edge. Just realized, lighting. There we go.
Hey,
I prefer it like this. So, as you place the weapon in, the water perfectly avoids the trident. It splits just before the trident touches the water and goes around it, creating a small arch underneath where you've placed the trident, stopping the trident from getting wet. Okay.
Cool. Okay. Oh, well, this might be handy. Okay. I'm going to just see if anybody else wants to. Averin picked up a weapon, correct?
Aye.
Do you want? Reams, do you want to try and see if it
Sure.
works for you?
I'll
Yeah?
take this sickle and go towards the water.
Okay. The water doesn't seem to react to your approach. Do you put the sickle into the water?
Aye.
Okay. Right. You place it into the water, and immediately a 15-foot wide, 10-foot tall square of water rushes back towards everyone. Doesn't affect Carmen.
Ooh.
Everyone else needs to roll a strength saving throw as the water is slamming into them.
I'm rolling you a strength saving.
Get my shield up. Brace behind it.
Awesome, done.
Oh, you roll well, I did for you. Let's do P out.
So, yeah, Pijo.
Tower Zola and PJ. I'll get the aura bonus.
Yeah.
Y'all get +2.
I like it's gonna help me.
Yeah. Pijo, and not Pijo, sorry. Tower, Captain, you guys are fine, but you do take half damage at 10 points of bludgeoning damage as the water hits you, but you're fine. Who else rolled well? Carmen's unaffected. Unfortunately, Zola, Pijo, and Averin, all having failed, take the full force of 21 points of bludgeoning damage, are thrown back to hit the back wall, and fall prone when you hit there.
Ow.
Laszlo staggers over and starts pulling each of them out so they don't drown in the water if they're face down. Ow, Rainy.
Let's not do that again.
So, Reenie, what are you holding? What's Reenie holding?
Was holding a sickle. It's probably fallen out of your hands by now, I would assume.
Not that it did a load of good.
Summon's gonna just gingerly just poke the waterfall again and just check that hers is still okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, maybe not all of the weapons can go through the water. Maybe it's just the ones which are, I don't know, designed for water, or only one can go through.
I'm gonna say it's just the trident, and it's possible you could just stand there so that we could walk through.
I can do that. If anybody wants to try and walk through as I hold it in the way, I'm happy to do so.
Perhaps I will do it, and if you decide, so you do not get caught in the wave again.
Well, just
Well, I think her.
just so to eliminate the possibility, can we just pick up the other weapons and see if the water reacts without sticking them into the water? Just a test.
None of the other weapons seem to trigger any sort of response from the water.
Okay.
And while you're considering this as a viable strategy of one person holding the water open for everyone else, you are reminded to walk through water with weapon in hand.
Okay.
Okay. But
Well,
past
perhaps
the waterfall, you can see an exact copy, but a mirrored copy of the corridor that you're in. So you see everything backwards. Right up close to it is a frog-headed female with a trident, then a goat-headed male with sickles, unarmed hawk-headed female, no weapon, panther-headed male with blowgun, lizard-headed female with a mace, and a stork-headed male with a hand axe. So there are 2 tridents.
Okay. So, shall I walk? I can walk through and go and get the other trident. I'm going to do that.
Why do you not throw the trident back through once you've passed up?
Yeah, that's fine. I just feel like I should. But
Not too hard. Your strength is. You are not used to being so strong now. Just gently.
Okay.
So you step through, no ill effect. You manage to
I'll
get through without any problem.
Okay.
As you step through, you're grabbing the other trident. Are you
Yeah.
throwing both of them through?
No, just one through for now.
Or just
Okay.
walk back with both in hand and give someone a trident, and then you can ferry us all across one by one.
Yeah, it could do that. I don't mind. That's fine. Okay. I'll walk back through then with both in hand.
Yep.
Okay.
And you get through without any problem. You hand over a trident to someone else. The 2 of you walk through, no problem. You take the trident off of that person, walk back, give it to another person, and so on. You guys work together and ferry each other across to the other space. This room is an exact duplicate of the previous, even to include a tunnel, small tunnel, tight tunnel at the end, and
Like,
the turn,
is there enough play space?
and the clay space. So you begin to dig at the clay space, and sure enough, another eyeball. Boom! You're at 8. You're almost there. Exactly.
Okay.
So where would you like to go from here?
You sound so excited. We always have the key to go face an invisible beholder and die.
Yay!
Yay!
You're not gonna die. So,
I will guard this passageway if someone wants to go down the smaller tunnel.
I can give it a look.
okay. You squeeze through the tunnel, and it turns. There we go. That's more like it. Okay. So it turns tightly, and then turns again. Do you continue through?
Yeah, but I'm gonna be keeping an eye out for any abnormalities, even like a puck.
Okay. You do notice with your passive perception there is a slight difference in between the ground you're on and the ground immediately in front of you. Specifically, it looks like 2 separate connecting slabs of stone. You notice the same thing about 20 feet ahead of you on the other side.
Without sticking my head past the line or anything, can I kind of examine the line where it meets the wall to see if it's possible that this is some kind of mechanism that will, for instance, like the spinning room, see if it'll do some kind of motion.
So roll an investigation check. Okay. You can't really see if there's any sort of mechanism to it. It just looks like a straight corridor. What you can tell with just your perception is the fact that the divide of the rock is slightly curved to suggest circle in front of you. That much you can see, but you can't see what might trigger the turn.
Probably passing the line, right? That'll do it.
No.
Okay, so I'll go back. I'll say I can only get so far before I'm concerned I will be separated from you guys. There's a whole chunk of the tunnel space that looks like it's part of a machine of some kind. Like it's mobile, or it could be mobile, or it could change forms and deposit me elsewhere.
Well, maybe we should just take a look in the other direction first.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking in the other direction, it's another corridor with that purple stuff in it. There'll be an eyeball that pops open, looks at you, and then closes again. Before it ends, about halfway down this corridor, you see a doorway. It looks like a big stone door like some of the others that you've seen. Doesn't appear to have any sort of lock to it. It's just there are hinges on this side, and you could pull it open.
Okay. Shall I pull it open?
Let me check it first.
Okay.
Is it clean?
It looks clean.
Okay, you're good.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna pull it open.
Okay. As you pull it open, you watch as there appears to be, at the exact same time on the opposite side of the room, a shadowy version of yourself, a silhouetted version of you, stood opening that door.
Oh. That's good.
But its back is towards you. It's almost like it's just opened the door to leave the room.
Okay.
Okay. Inside this room, you do see right behind the silhouette of, so in front of, from your perspective, but behind the back of your silhouette, your shadow, is a large stone font. There appears to be some form of hot soup, bright green, inside this stone font.
What's your shadow?
Oh. Okay.
You must slake your shadow in the font at the font. You must
Slake.
to feed. Or water.
If you remember, Averine gave you a
Yeah.
very specific translation and definition of slake,
Yes.
meaning to quench.
Yes. Okay. So, my copy is facing away from me. She's not facing the font at the moment.
Correct, not facing the font.
Okay. So
Face me.
Karma's going to slowly turn around. Hold on. So Karma's going to slowly turn around then to see if it turns at the same time.
It seems to be turning with you.
Okay. And I'll keep turning. And face Tower.
Tower's going to project his hands to roughly the height of the soup level.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can...
Yeah. Yeah.
The level. Yeah.
Okay. Are you gonna produce water?
I can. I can do that. I can. Yeah, I can produce water.
Because you've got.
I don't have that spell with me actually.
Oh, do you not?
No, I can't do that.
Okay.
Just.
But you'd have water in a pouch or something.
Mime it.
Okay,
You know-
so she will then cup her hands
And Tower, looking behind, will watch as the shadow reaches in, cups up this liquid, and starts to drink it. And you'll see little globules of green soup dripping down the otherwise dark face of the shadow.
Okay.
You drink it.
Yeah.
There's still some green goop left in inside the trough, though I need Carmen to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Oh no. Okay. Can she use a luck?
Yes, you can.
Where am I there? That's better.
That's better. Plus
Okay.
18.
Plus what?
Right. Plus
Oh,
3.
plus
So
yeah.
you're fine. No ill
Okay.
effect. You do feel as if you physically ate that soup or drank that soup just then, even though you didn't actually grab anything. It's warm. It's sticky. It's not too good. Unfortunately, what you drank was just a single pint, and there are 5 more pints to go. So, would you like to drink again?
Well,
Maybe
it was slake your shadow at the font. So technically, if she's had a pint, it depends on how much of a drinker she is.
It comes in pints.
It comes in pints.
Carmen's a drinker.
Karma can drink pints, but
We could share the.
it doesn't say how much she's got to drink. No, hold on, it doesn't say how much she's got to drink.
It could.
Slake your shadow at the font.
It could mean that we share the responsibility, but to slake means to quench, and to quench means to fulfill, and maybe you need to eat all of it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So where I'm standing, if I was to, I'm looking at the squares. If I was to move a little bit out of view, the tiniest bit, like move my arm out of view, would my shadow also start to disappear? I'm just wondering if we had to start again if I moved out of the way. That's all.
It would appear that the shadow also disappears.
Okay. In which case, Carmen would drink another pint.
Okay, you slop up another pint.
Yeah.
2 down, 4 left to go. Con save, please.
God. My God.
I think this is.
A drinking competition.
This is Dumbledore at the.
It's Dumbledore at the font.
At the font, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another success. You seem to be able to withhold it quite well.
So I'm going to step up and place a hand on Carmen's shoulder. I said, "The blessings of the Magister are with you," and cast Bless to give her an extra
Thank you.
D4.
And she's next to Laszlo as well. Does he do Constitution saving throw?
Yeah, I'll stick close. You get +2 to that roll when you make
Okay.
it, as long as it's a saving throw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I get a +6 now then.
A
I've
D4.
already acted I've activated the D4 on your thing, so now it should work. Fingers crossed.
Okay.
When you roll your save, it should automatically add a D4 to it. You just get to add an extra 2 on top of it, right? It's 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We can just do that mentally, so you're not
Yeah.
typing in commands.
Okay.
I feel
So
like
there are
this is like
4
a
more
D&D
pints to go.
Yeah,
So-
it's like a D&D version of down it, down it, down it. So I've had 2 pints.
You've had 2 pints. You got 4 to go. Roll me another con save.
Okay.
So that's 14 plus 2, so 16. You're going to stay with the 16?
Yeah.
You're good. 3
Okay.
pints left to go.
Yeah.
So roll me another con save
11.
with 13 in total.
You can do another luck, or you can use your thinking card. Got a thinking card.
No, I'll go with 13.
You gain 1 level of exhaustion.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
2 pints left to go.
Okay. Yes. She necks that one.
1 pint left. Yep.
With her level of
Sorry.
exhaustion, is she rolling at disadvantage now?
No, ability checks only.
All right.
Right now for 1 level of exhaustion. So last pint, roll the con save.
Yes.
You're good. You finish it up. Not only is the trough now empty, the shadow disappears. You no longer have that 1 level of exhaustion.
Yes.
Laszlo is just
And-
amazed at this whole thing that she's just like putting it away like a sailor. She just can't be stopped.
So just
Yeah.
like yeah.
Her,
You,
her
that was
slightly green skin, hulking out, drinking stuff. She's totally on steroids.
And in the bottom of the stone font is a single crystal eye.
Ooh.
It's so like
He's like,
So you're at 9.
yeah.
very well done.
All right.
Thank you.
Looking a little bit further ahead,
Okay.
the corridor just slightly ahead of you. You guys notice, firstly, there is a small peephole just before the corridor turns left. What you can see through is actually at about 6 foot high. There is a single peephole that has been carved into the stone. From a quick side glance, you can see that there is actually some form of glass inside the peephole. Do any of you look at the glass? Or look through the peephole?
I'll go for it.
Okay. What you will see when you look through the peephole is magnified in front of you is a golden medallion. This medallion that you can see, it's clearly a 2-piece medallion. You have a front plate and then a back plate. The front plate of this that you can see has a gap at the top that is shaped like a trapezoid. Okay, so on this spiral medallion, you have this gap up at the top. Through it, you can see the hieroglyph of a vulture.
I'll relay all that exactly as I'm seeing it and holding it.
Right. That's all that you see through there is that medallion that seems to have a disc behind a plate with a hole in it, and through the hole you can see the vulture hieroglyph. As people move around the corridor, what they will see is that the peephole has magnified incredibly a tiny, tiny little medallion that is almost impossible to be seen with the naked eye. The image that you actually see on top of this stone block that blocks your path, and I mean it does block your path in front of you, is the image of what appears to be a 7-foot-tall jackal-headed humanoid with the tiny medallion around his neck. All around the figure are small carvings of locusts.
Two mountains, and perhaps the tiny vulture is the first step. Pressing the button that you see, not taking the step on the slab.
Yeah, maybe.
Have at it.
I should go this way. I wanted to go the other way.
Okay. So, what are
Do
you
you-
guys doing?
Do you want to take a look at the room with the font? Is that what you meant, Tower?
Oh, I meant I wish to go to and come in from the ceiling. It seems much safer than trying to decipher
Oh, I
the
see.
code of the tiles.
Oh well. Can we
What's that?
explore the other areas before we get to that area?
Is there that way?
That is a tunnel that turns to the right. If you push in through it slightly, you'll see that it turns again.
Did there was a door on the back end of this?
There was a door, but it was just an empty cupboard. It was meant to duplicate the doorway that Carmen was stepping through.
Okay.
You want me to slide in that little hole and see what I can see?
Yes. Perhaps it leads back to your other path, but
Come.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, squeezing through. You'll squeeze through, you'll see, and then you'll have to kind of really shift your tail to get backwards through the tunnel.
I don't
Yeah.
need to turn around in here or anything. The way that Snake's muscles are, I could totally just reverse myself the whole way. No problem.
someone's been investigating snakes.
That is awesome. Wiggle back.
Okay. So, Tower, you're stood next to the block.
Sorry,
Roll a
this-
perception check. Yep.
Yeah. Is it?
That was Tower.
That was
That's okay, though. Tower, your passive perception is decent enough. Of this image, you've got a series of carved locusts around this jackal-headed humanoid. One of the locusts isn't actually connected to the stonework around it. It's not carved out of it. It actually looks like a button that one could press.
To press it.
You press it immediately, the stone block shifts and goes into the ceiling, completely flush with the ceiling, revealing the room beyond. Just like you had seen in the previous map, and we'll actually move to the other map with the more detailed view in just a moment. But while the block is up in the ceiling, no one peering through the peephole will be able to see that medallion.
Tower, put that thing back down. Please and thank you.
Is there a way to get it back down?
It's disappeared into the ceiling now. At this point,
I cannot.
Let's wait it out and see if it comes back down.
Actually, this gives me an opportunity. PG, I wanted to talk to you for a second. This being Eugen's tomb and you voicing your desire to be combined with them. So, Obolaka, we've been with her for a couple of levels here now, and we both know that you have the part that you share with.
Is currently telling me I shouldn't really speak to you.
I don't think it's a good idea. I really think it would be safer if you just stayed with me.
Yeah. She thinks it's much safer with us.
That's what I was going to suggest, is that maybe Obolaka is like your counterbalance to your regular impulses. So maybe it's actually a better thing to have that counterbalance as opposed to going whole hog into Eugen and his ways. Up to you.
At this present moment in time, I am conflicted.
I understand.
Oberlacher thinks it's a great idea that Oberlacher stays inside Pijo.
Yeah. I think I'm waiting for Matthew's decision on that.
We are quite
Sorry,
certain that
proceed.
this is another tomb that will have another god who could help us or hinder us in some way as we are trying to ultimately destroy Aserarak and free the world from his machinations.
You
Correct.
you sound so unimpressed. Try
Well,
and
I am no. Tower has said he has some reservation. I think the more power we have, the better. And if you have some reservation, well, it had better be a pretty good reservation if it means leaving behind something that could save the world from the greatest, most dangerous lich in the history of sentient cum.
Yeah. But, you know, try and smile a bit. Go on. Go on. And she's just going to just gently, just try and just make him smile. You know,
It is not that I am a dour man. It is that we are already dead
sure?
men. We have entered outside of the tomb. You and I could sit. We could have a drink. It would be a wonderful time. But here we are in the tomb. To be this levity can only lead to heartache and tears.
Yeah. But you know, it's just you gotta go out. Let's go out with a smile, and maybe we'll have a drink in a while because I've just had 5 pints. So.
Well, that was very impressive. We will one day have to talk more about that. That was.
Yeah.
I will admit I was very impressed.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
If you need to vomit, please do not do it near me. It is
I
very hard to get that green out of the armor, out of the leather straps.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I just might burp a bit, that's all, but I'm good. Yeah. Okay.
Has the slab come back down?
It is good to
Nope. As you guys had seen previously in your replay of what happens, you can make the educated guess that the slab is not coming down until someone steps on the first hieroglyph.
Okay.
I would like the slab to come back down because this magnifying thing showed the image of the first hieroglyph. I would guess that with further investigation, we might be able to find the other hieroglyphs that we're supposed to step on.
Or Pijo could just fly in.
Towers.
Pijo could fly in. Pijo?
It doesn't seem too far away. I bet Carmen could run and jump for it.
I could jump it.
I saw what happened, and it didn't seem too safe. And I don't. Well.
Pijo?
Yeah.
Are we talking to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you've never had a problem flying anywhere before.
Well, yeah, but all those bugs.
What bugs?
The bugs that ate that gentleman there.
There are no bugs in here, Pijo. I promise you that.
There is if you go.
There isn't. There isn't. Stop it.
We saw it. We saw it.
So
bullying Pijo.
before anyone goes in, whether it's Pijo flying or someone jumping through the mouth upstairs, I think we need more information because it's quite possible that flying in or jumping down will get us in, but it may not be able to get us out. So I want to have as much information as possible before anyone goes in.
I can conjure animals onto the spot and maneuver them inside the tomb to see what triggers.
So are we all inside the room now, or are we? Because the map's changed.
You guys are actually outside.
Okay,
The reason why I've got the map open is just for simplicity, for the next step.
If I conjure an animal, then we can. If I conjure a number of animals, I can have them spread out and see which ones trigger the tomb, and we can rewatch from the jackal's head. to get the information you
We
need.
have investigated everything on this floor that we could find, other than there may be some issue in those tunnels that Zola mentioned. But other than that, I do not know what else we could investigate or find. We are here. We have a way to get in.
There's an amulet on this brick that's above us, or not an amulet, something that has inscriptions on it that we can get another look at. Tower, if you did conjure an animal and you put it on that spot, that might close the door and might give us an opportunity to explore, get another look at that, those sigils.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's very wise.
I will conjure a monkey.
Okay. So you cast Conjure Animals.
Yeah.
Expend the 3rd level spell slot.
Yeah.
And as mentioned previously, the walls surrounding the room seem to be warded against conjuration magic,
Oh.
and it doesn't work.
I thought the actual jackal's head was warded against conjuration magic.
It would appear that as you try to summon anything within, conjuration just doesn't work in that room.
All right, I'm looking for volunteers to stand on the one square. If no one is up for it, I'll do it. But that would leave the investigation to someone else.
Well, we believe that the door will close. There is no saying that the door will.
Power walks in.
Okay. Tower, you step forward onto the vulture step. You've been told by a Serarex warning plaque the vulture is the first step, and as soon as you do so, you hear a click. The block drops down. Is anyone looking through the peephole?
Greeny.
Greeny.
Hi, I'm looking at the people.
So as you look through the peephole, you will watch as, while it's still moving down and shifting into place, the dial behind the plate shifts once over, and now you see the image of a serpent.
Ooh.
Tower, can you hear me?
Can I hear him?
Strangely enough, Tower can telepathically hear Averine. While
Yes.
Averine is looking through the peephole, anyone within the room that Tower is now in will be able to telepathically hear Averine.
Awesome.
Tower, I leave it to you to whether or not you'd like to follow these steps. But as soon as the door closed, a new sigil showed up showing me the image of a serpent. If you'd like, you can stay there and we can touch the thing to open the door to let you escape. Or we can send someone up to drop down upon the sarcophagus. What would you like to do?
Let us proceed. Averine, I trust you.
All right, I see an image of a serpent. Do you have a serpent that you can step onto?
I see one to my left. Can I step across to that?
Before...
I'm not doing it. I'm suggesting to the DM.
Yes, you can step diagonally. Each square is 5 foot, so you can make that step.
It occurs to me that we should exercise as much caution as possible. Do you have the ability to shape into another figure that would occupy just that one square at this moment to give yourself additional survivability?
I have one more wild shape, but if I make a wrong step, I wish to become a flying creature and fly my escape out the tunnel. I will hold fire until I know this is the wrong move.
Would you... how about becoming a flying creature now and stepping onto that sigil?
Why can't you just step into?
Then I will not be able to communicate with you properly.
Very well. The serpent is what I see.
Tao will step forward onto the serpent.
You step, there's a click, shift in the dial, you see a door.
Tower,
There you go.
I see a door.
There is another door to my left. But perhaps somebody else can follow me in now.
I'll follow. Should I follow? Amory, do you think?
Or do you think we should step one at a time?
I really don't know.
Then I will proceed.
Yeah. Step on the door.
Step on the door.
Step on the door. Another click, shift. You see a reed, or in fact, rather, 3 reeds poking out of the ground.
Tower, I see 3 reeds.
I see 3 reeds as well in the same direction as before. I will proceed.
Okay. Click, shift, a scarab.
Tower, I see a scarab.
It seems I have 2 scarabs.
Oh no.
Are they identical?
They are identical.
Oh no.
Well, how close is he to the sarcophagus? Maybe he doesn't have to step on it at all.
It's a 10-foot jump to get to the dais.
Can anyone adjust the thing that I'm looking at through this magnifying glass to see if I can see if anything's beyond that? Am I at the end?
No, there's definitely at least enough space for 4 more steps. You're about halfway through the shift on the dial, but the version that everyone else can see is so tiny and intricate that they can't really interact with it.
Okay.
You're gonna have to choose.
Tower, it looks like the series of symbols still goes on for some time.
I think the temptation to get to the dais is the trap. And to unlock this thing, I must fulfill the path. I'll step forward straight ahead.
Click, shift, scepter.
Oh. Oh.
You chose wisely, Tower.
Oh.
I now see a scepter.
Ah!
Well done.
What is the next style?
A scepter is what I see.
I'll step on the scepter.
All right. Click, shift in the dial. A foot.
I see a foot, Tower.
I have a foot. Step.
Okay. Clicks, shifts one more time to show the image of what appears to be an urn.
Tower, I see an urn.
Step.
Okay. You step onto this one. It clicks. The stone block door that blocks your party from you rises up into the ceiling once more. You hear a loud shift, and Idjin's sarcophagus opens.
I run in and loot the dwarf.
You run in this door. Perfect. Okay. This fellow has a yellow turban that is actually set with a peridot gemstone in it, probably worth quite a bit. A search of his corpse reveals non-magical shield, a pouch containing a very high quality diamond. Quick glance, you could assume this diamond is worth about 500 gold pieces.
Giant.
And 2 1-inch diameter crystal eyeballs. Sorry, not 2. Should be just the 1. Yep, 1. And that would be all 10 that you need on his person.
What's
Obviously, you've
everyone
got
looking
the-
at? Just carry on.
Tower's going to slide off the top of the sarcophagus because we've kind of established it's taking the lids off. It's
Yep.
touching the items that triggers it. Yeah. So
Inside, you can see
Um,
fragile bones of a rabbit with a spiral horn. However, the spiral horn looks more intact. It doesn't look like a bone that's eroded. It looks like a very colorful, shiny horn. More like a wand, almost.
it appears to be a wand, Avery.
Ooh. What you do with that, Reens?
Well, I reckon that that's what you have to touch to get the spirit.
It is. I will not touch this. Somebody else must.
What? Why not, Tower?
I cannot. I might lose connection to my own god if I take upon another. I do not wish to do this.
Moa, is that possible?
I believe whatever connection he had with the deity will have been severed the moment he entered the tomb, not when we enter them.
Tower, Moa says that he thinks it's the entering of the tomb itself that might have probably severed that connection. It's not going to be from the 9 gods.
We want nothing more than to get out.
Says we want nothing more than to get out.
I do not know if this god is the right one for me.
Tower, we've all got one. I mean, mine's not even talking to me, so it might not even bother you.
Alternatively, is anybody here unhappy with who they're with now? Like Everine? You
Marine?
like Nang Nang?
I like Averine. I don't want to let go of Averine. So it's Nang Nang.
Well, I'll encourage Piju again. Hey, I know you had an affinity for this fella. Why don't you fly over there?
Constant.
Because he's missing, I'll give you this little caveat. It might be beneficial for Pijo. Its benefit is lessened on Pijo than some other individuals.
While it has not been a particular problem, Papa Zotto and I do not have too much in common.
Hey, don't you dare be thinking about getting rid of me. I'll get rid of you before you get rid of me.
Oh, you want to get the best outcome, which is to have Acerarak destroyed. If you and I do not jive so correctly, would it not be best to make something more copacetic, as they say?
I thought we were getting along. I thought we were friends.
Oh, we were not enemies, certainly. No, there are no hard feelings.
I feel rejected.
Well, I did struggle against your entering my body, and you did so against my will. But tomato. Goulash corato.
I'm sorry. I don't know who I'm apologizing to, but I am very sorry for that.
Laszlo, your facility with the language, it astounds. I was hoping to get to know Unk better in the future. And so I believe if I were to partner up with this fella, that it would only be for a temporary amount of time. Piju, come on. And I pat Piju.
I can't. Seriously, I feel uncomfortable making this decision for Stephen. So,
I think. What would everyone vote?
he did say he wanted this one, didn't he? He did decline that he wanted this one. However, I'm conflicted on how he would treat the reluctance from the other god.
Okay.
I'm also trying to actively persuade him against it too. Just
yeah. Because Stephen's not here, I am prepared to make the educate. Obviously, this would fit with Pijo's previous character, so I'm prepared to give you guys an insight into Ijin.
Okay.
Okay, so that you can adequately make the choice about Pijo. Okay, whether or not Pijo does it, whether or not he would take the choice. This will change his flaw to be I never stick to a plan. Rather than being risk averse,
so it's normal.
It'll be I never stick to a plan.
That's back to normal then.
Okay.
I feel like that could kill him.
It seems to be more inclined with the Piju I know, rather than the Piju that he has become.
Well, we're in the realm of Ubtao, and Ubtao says balance is good, and that's the case, then Obolaka is his god.
Now, talking to Papa's daughter really quick. Can we trick Tower into grabbing that? Shrewd and conniving as we are.
Even if he were to hold it, if you could manage to get him to hold it, he would then have a force of will against Ijin. I don't really have much against Ijin, but Ijin is a little weak.
All right.
I think your friend would be able to withhold Ijin's power.
I mean, is Ijin just weak? Is Ijin just a weak deity that we should leave behind?
For certain individuals, Ijin would be very useful for.
So, Ty, if you're really uncomfortable, I'm fine with Averine for experimentation purposes, just to see what happens when two gods fight.
As Ty as a player is kind of going, yeah, he would. I would pick it. I haven't got a really god preference, to be fair. But I just kind of said that Tower probably has a connection to his god and he's feeling really funny about it. So
take one for the team. Take one for the team. It won't be with us for long.
She took one for the team earlier, and she is a little green, and she now drinks like a longshoreman, but it seems to be working out okay for everyone.
Yeah.
Tower will give Carmen a nod, because Carmen's the only one he really listens to now. So.
That's because she can smash you, Sunshine.
Yes, that is very true.
Do you grab the wand?
I pick up the wand, but
Okay.
I may resist.
Streamers of light emanate from the tip of the horn. As they swirl around you, they form into the spectral rabbit with a single horn on its brow. A female voice just whispers in your ear. Please, trust me. I can help. Let me in and we can stop Sararak. Together. Once we're done, I'll leave. Please.
It is not you that I do not trust. It's that my connection to my God has been severed forever, and therefore my purpose. This scares me.
Do you resist?
I'm trying to be persuaded.
Roll an insight check. See if you can trust her.
Oh, you got good.
You can trust Ijin.
You know, Sirin.
Ijin, the Almirage, is fickle and unpredictable. While inhabited by Ijin, you gain the following flaw, which overrides any opposing flaw. I never stick to a plan. While Ijin inhabits you, your dexterity score becomes 23 unless it is already higher.
Super Dex.
Okie dokie.
Okay. So now you are dexterous. You also have what you understand now to be the horn of Ijin that actually acts like a wand of wonder. Requires attunement by a spellcaster. The wand has 7 charges. While holding it, you can use an action to expend one of its charges and choose a target within 120 feet of you. The target can be a creature, object, or a point in space. Roll a d100 and consult the following table to discover what happens. It has some pretty decent effects, some weird effects. You don't have to attune to it, but that is now in the party.
Wow.
I will make the
Awesome.
necessary change to your character sheet, Tower, just like I did with Lainey. Carmen. All right, now you have everything you needed, all of the eyes. You have Ijin. Every one of you is boosted by a deity at this point. What are you guys going to do? You know where the key is.
I guess we need to pick a spot to hole up for a night. See if we can defend it.
Carmen can cast her hut.
I will. I'll cast the hut anyway, but I think Zola's right. We should pick somewhere, like the office we were in actually previously, but some space where we've got one doorway to it and we can set up a tent and we're quite protected would be ideal. I mean, the office makes sense if we go back to that, unless.
We could do the office, or we could do, much as I hate to say it, the room with the tapestries. I have unpleasant memories there, but I have unpleasant memories of most of the places I have slept, so it is fine.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've begun to like you guys, and I'm thinking you might have a chance of surviving.
Ah, that's kind.
So it might be a bit of a squeeze, but might I suggest those tight little tunnels dotted around? If you have to defend yourself, it's a very difficult, tight space. You can set up your defenses, and I'll even be quiet and let you sleep.
Insight check.
Yeah, because each of those tunnels have got 2 entrances, and we have the hut.
He seems to be, like, you guys seem to be growing on him. And interestingly enough, there is in fact one of the tunnels that you'll have gone to look around that seems almost perfectly or purposefully built for a resting space. And that is, one of the entrances is hidden behind a statue. The other entrance is in the water space. And there is actually a large open space for you to sit in. Yaka has grown to like you guys enough that he will warn you that of all the spaces, that's probably the best chance you have of getting rest.
Okay. Yaka, do you sleep?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Then you're on watch.
Was there? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yes.
Was there any treasure in the boat besides the wand?
No, it was just the wand.
All right.
Sorry, I deleted the wand. What is it? The wand of...
It's the
Wand
Wand
of Wonder.
of Wonder.
Wonder
I
what?
will happily pull it back up for you if you wish to see it.
There you go.
Close it if you don't need it.
No, thank you.
Okay, so do we have anywhere else we want to look at before we set up camp for the night?
That seems like, as far as I understand it, a very defensible place. It's not covered in mold, is it? 'Cause we want to get away from the mold.
It's the one space that isn't.
There you go.
Okay.
Talking specifically about them.
Yeah.
Have we satisfied all the clues?
Keep the gods to the right. Or what is that?
Right the gods.
Right the gods.
Yeah, we covered that first, I think.
I think we've covered all the things, actually.
Oh yes, right the gods. That was when we found the golem in the hole, the pit. Yes, I think we have completed all of the warnings.
Very well, then yeah, I think that's a fine time and place to rest. It'll give us time to attune to the things we want to attune to.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and you guys will have the opportunity to have a long rest in here, unhindered. You will all gain the full benefits of it. So refresh hit points back up to maximums. Refresh spell slots, skills that are also refreshed on a short or a long rest. Everything that you have back up to its maximum, and feel free to attune to whatever you prepare your spells for the oncoming battle with an invisible beholder in a room with no friction.
Yay!
It's going to take me a moment to pick some spells. Do you have any ideas for this upcoming encounter? Perhaps as a means to... sure, I guess we should decide, are we swapping items to attune to and whatnot?
We don't have a list of like all party items that we can look at on how to distribute.
If no one else wants that amulet of health, I'll begrudgingly take it.
I'm considering it now because I could take my armor off, and my actual unarmored defense would be more now, I think, with the dexterity modifier and the constitution modifier.
Oh, that's a good point.
11 would give me an AC
21.
20. Is it 10 plus?
10 plus. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would give me an AC of 21.
You have the same AC as a guy in full plate and a shield. I should know.
So those are the magical items that you guys have collected within the tomb thus far, including the staff of striking that you got from the goat man.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Who's carrying the staff of striking at the moment?
Tao's got it.
Oh, okay.
I haven't attuned to it though.
Can you only be attuned to one item?
No, you can just
Up to 3.
Unless
Okay.
you're Pijo, who gets 4.
Pijo can get 4.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, that.
Hang on.
Yeah.
You've got 6 gods. I've just shown you 6 items. I think I'm missing one because you also had the... What am I missing?
I got the Pearl of Power.
Ah, yeah, the Pearl of Power.
The ring and the Staff of Striking didn't come from a god.
No, it didn't. But the Pearl of Power did in its place. Yep.
I think Carmen should be using the Staff of Striking, as it's magical. Now that she has superior strength?
Yeah, I can.
This is true.
I am also carrying the Staff of Healing. So if somebody would like to swap, I'm just conscious of what items I'm carrying, that's all. Because I've got Staff of Healing, I've got the ring, which me and Tower split between.
When I was
I've got
Does
the Fluke and Bandora.
Does Carmen's abilities on her sword thing, like all of her flurry of bows, is that all sword based, or is it can she use it with any weapon?
Well, it should be of anything. It's just it's
not flurry of bows.
When I was transported to this strange place, all equipment that I had that was magical was left behind. So I currently do not have any. I understand there is a certain mental taxation with magical items, so one cannot have an unlimited amount. But I currently have none, though I do have some experience with divine healing, so perhaps I could carry the staff and use it, or something like that. I do not think I need any item to do what I do better, which is be a big wall and a big shield.
Don't forget you have my father's sword.
Did that item require attunement?
Oh no, but it's magical.
Yes, well, but it does not require my mental taxations to use that item. Thank you. I do have your father's sword, and I have promised to return it. But insofar as that matters, just so you all know.
So you
Carmen, as far as I understand bards, there's no real reason why you have to use dex with your weapons. You can. They are finesse weapons that you use, and you can use strength. But typically, bards tend to focus on dexterity, so they stick with that. So you can change your weapons to be strength based, should you desire.
Right, so you get Staff of Striking then.
Okay, so I am happy to take Staff of Striking. If Laszlo, if you want to take the Staff of Healing, so I'm not, walking around with loads of staffs.
I don't think Laszlo can attune to it.
Oh, okay.
I have divine magics from a particular deity, but not
the ring. You can have a weapon.
Okay, I'll take it.
You've got three. You've got the ring.
I've got the ring, and I've got the Staff of Healing,
and the Staff of Striking. Yeah.
And the Instrument of the Bards.
I've got the
I can carry the Staff of Healing if it's if you're at your maximum.
I think I'm at my maximum. Being honest, I believe I'm at my maximum. So I'm
going to look suspiciously at Everine when she says that.
Hey, that one was her, not me.
May I have the amulet back, Evelyn?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Can I have the Staff of the Python back?
Do I have that too?
Yeah, I thought you did. I thought I gave it to you.
Yeah. Could be.
That requires attunement by cleric, druid, and a warlock, though.
That's fine. I just want it for its connection to Moa.
All right, cool. All right, so.
P-Gel's got the
Bracers of Archery.
Wonder Woman thingies, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, I'll take the Wand of Wonder. I'm not going to use it though. Who in the hells would carry
I could
with unpredictable results?
I could use it because my sword only allows me to be up close. If we get in a situation where I am some distance away, I have some experience with magical wands.
Sure.
Imagine, just totally imagine summoning 600 butterflies in the room.
It requires.
Imagine shooting someone with coins. A stream of coins.
Requires attunement by spellcaster. Have you got?
I'm a paladin. I have spellcasting levels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. And then there's the ring of protection. Who's got that?
Piju. And
Okay.
I like
There's
it.
always the ring of winter if you want to get that one out.
Don't tempt.
Laszlo doesn't know about that.
Laszlo doesn't know about
That's why I didn't say it in the accent.
that.
It's a good idea. I think Nang Nang might be interested in hearing about that ring.
No.
I already have it. There's no more. There's nothing more to discuss, Ning Ning.
But it's a precious ring.
And that's why we're keeping it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. As our heroes gear up for what might be an incredible fight, we're going to end our session there tonight. Join us next week as our group of adventurers takes on possibly the deadliest combat they've had yet so far. Thank you very much, folks.
The best heist ever.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It could go either way. Join us next week as we find out.
The best sing-off ever.
Thanks very much, folks. Good night.